The following may upset you. It may even shock you.
And welcome. Storytime with Uncle Punky. I am said Uncle Punky. Welcome to another exciting pop culture chit-chat, reference, nostalgia, walkthrough, whatever you want to call it. Very Wayne's World style. We hang out, we chit-chat with folks who are important to pop culture, because that's all we know. We being Roger and myself. Roger is always welcome back. It's been like weeks.
Yeah, there was that douchebag that signed up
that
for
one
a
guy.
week. And,
Never again with that, by the way.
Yeah,
I don't know if you got my email on that one, but no, he was very unpleasant. Mainly off camera.
Did he inappropriately touch you or anything?
Not just me.
Good.
Not just me.
Okay.
The cats won't even come in the basement now.
Fantastic.
So that's unfortunate. And of course, I did have a little bit of a family emergency. My daughter was not feeling well, and she's 6, and so
comes first.
Yeah, had to take a day off, unfortunately, but she's okay.
Ghost.
She's feeling better.
Ghost.
Yeah, there might be ghosts. We were just talking about them. Now we have spirits down here. But everything else is fine. But you've been around doing things. You went to Star Wars. No, you didn't go to the Star Wars Celebration. But you were in Chicago.
I was in Chicago for Record Store Day and the Wax Tracks experience.
Awesome. And it was an experience?
Absolutely.
Walk down memory lane?
Oh, so many cool things. Vintage stuff. The documentary about Wax Tracks. Ministry performed.
That's the good icing on the
good.
cake. That's a good icing on the cake.
It was good stuff.
And I'm jealous because I saw pictures. Your kid posted a bunch of pictures. You guys made friends down there in line, and
that's why you show up early and stand in line, because
like 8 hours early. You guys were out there for a while, yeah.
Like-minded people.
Was it a long wait? Was it not too
bad?
We
waited in from 3 a.m. till 8 a.m. in a record store line. Oh. Then we went and saw a few other record stores. Then we went to the event.
Wow.
Heard the whole sound check.
Wow.
Sat in line, made friends.
Wow,
got in early.
Really cool.
Oh, it was good.
Well, it's still
good
a fun
stuff.
Experience. Yeah, I did that a long time ago in the 90s when my body could take it. Now I'm like, no, I need a bed or a couch.
I did 27 hours straight driving and everything and did not hit the wall.
Wow.
I don't know. It was a miracle.
Hit the grass, at least. Yeah. As long as you don't hit the wall.
I slept in the next day for
something.
Sure.
Yeah, I bet. All right. Today, because record store, obviously, international record store day.
Record store.
I don't know if it's national,
yeah.
but it's international. I mean, everybody loves vinyl records. I grew up on them. You grew up on them. You're still growing up on them, and we brought in a guest, of course, an enthusiast collector, which we'll talk to in a little bit.
Who has never stopped growing up?
Who's never stopped growing up like us. So this is very appropriate that he's hanging out in the basement with us. But first, we got to get through the birthday list, which is typically people who have to do with pop culture. If you celebrate these people, if you're a big fan, maybe you already know this information. You're baking a cake right now for someone who's never going to come over.
We should call this segment the birth canal.
The birth.
We'll make our way through.
We'll put that in the tank. We'll put that in the back burner for now. On the 14th of this week, where are we? April. 1958. Peter Capaldi, one of the many doctors, the 12th specifically. One of your favorites? You like him? Scottish actor?
Not in my top.
Okay, not in your top.
Not my top, but.
Chuck.
Yeah.
What? Okay.
It was good to bring back the adult.
The older style.
Yeah. The last few have been kids.
More of a gruff doctor.
Yeah.
Okay. 1960s, Brad Garrett, giant American actor and comedian. Everybody loves Raymond.
Everyone loves Raymond, yeah.
Most specifically, everybody loves Raymond, honestly. But he's done a lot of voice acting, Disney stuff, and cartoons. He shows up a lot because he's got that big.
He's got that deep voice.
He's got that giant voice to go with his huge head and body. In 1961, Robert Carlyle, Scottish actor and director. He was in, as we discussed, Trainspotting. Fantastic soundtrack. Fantastic movie for its time.
Yep.
Of course.
I still cannot see babies crawling on the ceiling without
if I hear a baby screaming from anywhere, that's
you just look up to the ceiling first.
Image, and I'm like, oh, gross. Or people crawling on toilets and stuff, and to a beautiful, beautiful song.
Yeah.
By the way, when he goes crawling into that disgusting bathroom toilet. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. Kids, I don't suggest it. Get your parents' permission. 1968, Anthony Michael Hall. American actor as part of our youth,
Yep.
adolescence.
Okay,
A lot of big 80s movies, Weird Science, of
Weird
course.
Science, all the John Hughes stuff.
A lot of Breakfast Club, everything. He's been everywhere, and he's still around doing things. He's popped up from time to time in some.
He was
cool
in the Batman,
stuff.
Nolan's Batman trilogy.
Yeah. That's
The
right.
TV
He played
host.
the TV host guy. Yeah, so it's good to see him doing things. 1973. Oh, he did that Stephen King's
Dead Zone.
Dead Zone. Yeah,
The TV series.
The series after the Walken starring film.
Christopher Walken.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow, I can see into the future.
This is scary. 1973, Adrian Brody. There's like 3 weeks in a row we snuck in some Christopher Walken. Adrian Brody, long-faced American actor. I'm not a huge fan of his. I don't know.
You know, I
he
love
was
King
okay
Kong,
in the
but
Predators,
Predators, he was good. Yeah.
Predators. But I don't know.
King Kong was all right,
I mean,
but-
maybe I'm superficial and shallow. I don't like his face. His nose.
Ooh.
His nose just takes away from his whole acting. It's just that's all I see on his face. That's it. He's got a whole lot of it. It's right there.
Wow.
Sorry, that's how I
How do
feel,
you feel?
Adrian. I'm sure yours as well. 1975, Lita, Amy Dumas, American wrestler. She used to hang out with the Hardy Boys and jump off things and
Did Nancy
twist
Drew
around
get upset
stuff.
about that?
And then, right, she was Nancy Drew of the group, and broke her neck at one point in time.
Oh.
I think she had to give
Christ.
up or broke her back. I don't know. Did we talk about that in the wrestling show? Did we discuss that?
We talked about it, but yeah.
You left that out. You dropped the ball, Joe. So fired.
I was family.
So fired again. 1977, Sarah Michelle Gellar. Geeler? Is it
Galah.
Geeler Monster? Well,
She-
wouldn't it be
she's
Prince,
as- she's
Sarah
as old as
Michelle
Star
Prince
Wars.
Jr.?
Yeah.
Technically, she's been married to that guy forever, hasn't she? Since
It's-
Scooby-Doo?
Even before
Yeah,
that.
sorry.
Yeah.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, of course, American actress, producer. My wife's not a fan. 1452, still not the oldest, Leonardo da Vinci,
My hero.
Italian painter, sculptor, architect.
Love Da Vinci.
Amazing. Every work that he has done is amazing. Flying machines,
Submarines.
submarines,
Tanks. He
the
invented
sculptures
everything.
alone, just the realism of everything that he did, and just for his time, he just
And-
led the way for.
And here in
artists.
Grand Rapids, we have the big horse.
Yeah, we do have
The
we
giant
got
Da Vinci
the
horse?
Da Vinci horse. Yeah. Which of course everybody has to. They get underneath the hoof. That's the
Yeah.
pose.
Yeah.
Everybody gets underneath the hoof. Like I'm being crushed by a horse. Yeah, my kids have done it. Everybody does it. I do have a picture of somebody. I think they're pointing up at his junk, like trying
Well,
to
it's a
play
big horse.
playing with his
penis.
junk. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's weird. Don't do that. That's not a good picture. Don't put that online. 1841, Joseph E. Seagram. Seagram's from Seagram's?
Yeah,
From like the vodkas
Oh.
and the wine coolers?
founded. Oh, I guess you can't see.
Well,
it
he's
yet.
white
Founded
wine
Seagram's
spritzer?
Company.
Have yourselves a spritzer in 1841?
He's no Bartles and James.
He's no Bartles and James, sir. I know Bartles and James, and you, sir, are no,
No
Bartles and James. 1903, John Williams, English-American actor. Dial M for murder. Most
Hitchcock,
notoriously for
yes.
Hitchcock. 1933, Roy Clark,
Oh.
American musician and television personality of Hee-Haw.
Badass banjo player. Oh, my God.
He could get down on some
Yeah.
banjo, which he did a lot in the show, and of course the bad puns in the cornfields, and he was a big country star. But
But
I
it kind of
watched-
overshadowed the fact that there were talented musicians that were on that show.
yeah, a lot of them came
Unfortunately,
through
yeah.
there. Oh yeah, despite Minnie Pearl.
Yeah.
The show was a raging success, and I thought it was funny. I used to watch it.
It was on for like
reruns and
100
stuff.
years.
Yeah, it was on forever. 1933, Elizabeth Montgomery, American actress and producer.
Bewitched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who didn't have a crush on her when you were growing up?
I can't say that I
Yeah.
didn't.
She had the wrinkly nose and everything.
Oh.
Okay, I don't know how it goes. I can't do the face. I don't know the noise either. Apparently,
You have a problem with noses
I
today.
do. I'm
clearly.
apparently very
What the hell?
nosophobic. Anybody else? 1962, Tom Kane, American voice actor. I can't think of a damn thing that he's done, but I know I've heard his work.
I can't help you on that.
Linda Perry, American singer, songwriter, musician, record producer of Four Non Blondes.
What's going
1965.
on?
What is going
What's
on?
going
with her?
on?
We were actually singing that loudly last night. As a matter of fact.
Well, you can't sing it
I'm not going to
softly.
say we had a few, but yeah, we all participated in the sing along. You have to when
Yeah.
it comes on. You have to.
She's been
That's
a powerhouse producer though in the
and
past few years.
it stemmed from I was watching. There was Jimmy Fallon had on Justin Timberlake. They did a skit where they were singing that at like camp, Winnipesaukee or whatever. And then Keegan Michael Key comes busting in all theatrical like and tries to. It's funny as hell because they're just belting out the lyrics as everyone does. 1982. Oh, he's just a baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seth Rogen, Canadian-American actor, director, producer, pot smoker. I guess, hey,
Imagine that.
happy holidays to you, buddy.
Speaking of just a baby.
Right. 1990, Emma Watson, Hermione. Pretty much what
1990.
she's known for from Harry Potter. Harry Pothead.
I know she graduated from high school before she was born. God.
19... right. That was about 4 years away. 1997, Maisie Williams, English actress, of course, from the Game of Thrones, one of the most widely popular and discussed
Huge
things. Whether
week
you're a
last
fan
week.
or whether you're not, people are talking about
Last season just started.
it. Yeah, I've never watched the show. I don't watch it. Or, oh yeah, are you watching it? Nobody cares either way. It's a show. There's lots of them. Going up.
The book is better.
The book is better. Yeah. Good luck getting another one of those. 1889, Charlie Chaplin, English actor, director, producer, screenwriter, con man.
Genius.
A genius, literally. I mean, he did amazing things for not having to speak in his films. I mean, some of the earliest things that I was introduced to as far as, like, classic black and white movies and stuff for, like, film appreciation classes and stuff like that, which I've taken a few in my time. It makes you appreciate that kind of style more,
Oh,
like
absolutely.
Nosferatu and just the weird comedy, the Keystone Caper
The
comedies and stuff like
Keystones,
that.
the Harold
Keystone Cops.
Lloyd's.
Yeah, Harold Lloyd's and
Harold
stuff like
Lloyd
that.
was
Yeah.
amazing.
Amazing stuff. And Charlie
But
Chaplin,
Charlie Chaplin's
hands
the
down
king.
one of the best. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. 1917, Barry Nelson, the very first James Bond, technically,
The TV show.
of the TV,
the TV
show. Yeah,
episode,
so
yeah.
he's on the list, in case you don't know who he is. The first
It's
James Bond.
it's fine if you don't know who he is.
And
That's
we
fine.
didn't even bring him up in the Bond episode.
Oh, we
Well,
didn't?
there's
No.
probably good reason.
1935, Bobby Vinton,
The Polish Prince.
the Polish Prince, American singer. 1950, David Graff, American actor. Tackleberry, from the Police Academy movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Tackleberry just wanted to shoot everything. Loved his gun way too much. 1952, Billy West, American voice actor, singer, songwriter, and comedian. Of course, Fry, Futurama.
Ren and Stimpy.
Ren and Stimpy, of course, and various other things.
One of those people I've met back in the day.
Yeah.
Phenomenal guy.
Oh, sure.
Cool dude.
Very humble, very cool. Wants to
Yeah.
talk to everybody. Her and I, the wife and I, look up the IMDb, everything when we're watching stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, that guy.
Oh, that's where that guy. That's how I know
IMDb.
that guy.
It's a fun game for us with
Yep.
everything we do, and of course, when it comes to voice actors, yeah, right.
Yeah.
The lists are just you're like, oh,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
oh, he was in this with this guy, and our voices get 3 octaves higher every time. Oh, that guy. 1960. Nicholas. 1964. Dave Berner, American singer songwriter, Soul Asylum.
Soul Song.
Yeah, we played a little. I played some Runaway Train the
Oh,
other night.
good.
We're going through the.
Black Gold was way
It rambled through. I don't think anybody noticed when I played it either.
April,
Yeah,
April
shove.
Fool.
Want somebody to shove? That was
Somebody
great.
Show is a great song.
That was the only song that I just absolutely love of theirs. Talks about shoving people. How fun is that? 1965, John Cryer, big actor in the 80s. 2.5 Men,
Ducky.
which became 1.5 Men. Yeah, Ducky.
Ducky.
Yeah, that was his role.
We can't.
Really, that put him in any kind of a spotlight.
Yeah.
To make him who he is today. Now he posts a lot of political stuff on Twitter.
That's too bad.
Yeah, he's crabby about something all the time. And bald. Did you see him bald? He had like a beard. He bald.
No.
He jumped on that train. Yeah, he looked all right. It's a little taken aback by it because you see his little teenage face from the '80s, and you're like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, Ducky.
Yeah, right.
So that's not Ducky.
That's not his style. What was it, hipster Ducky? Get out of here. 1965, Martin Lawrence, American actor, producer, screenwriter. They just wrapped up Bad Boys 3.
Really?
Yep, him and Will Smith just wrapped it up.
That horse, I thought, didn't need to get beat because it was dead.
No, but Martin Lawrence, not a lot going on.
Yeah, he needs some
Will
help.
Smith's got all kinds of things happening.
Yeah,
but
he's got
like,
live
yeah,
horses
Martin-
he can just ride.
yeah,
he doesn't
Martin-
need to beat a dead one.
Just Martin. That's the other thing I remember about him the most is that damn theme song for a stupid show. Martin. 1971, Selena. That's it. American singer, songwriter, actress, fashion designer. She was murdered by a fan.
A fan at a
President
concert.
of her, fan
The
club.
president of
President
her
of
fan
the
club. Right. Yeah, I think
So
my mom
the-
actually told me about
The
that.
life lesson: never have a fan club.
Don't have a fan club. Yeah, please, people, don't enjoy our show too much. We're not that cool. We got a lot to live for.
Although our ratings go off the roof if someone shot us.
Right. Waiting outside for us as we walk out. 1984, Claire Foy, English actress from The Crown, which probably won something. Netflix? I don't know. On the 17th of 1837, J.P. Morgan, American bank and financier, founded, of course, J.P. Morgan.
Not the J.P. Morgan from the Gong Show.
That would have been much better.
That's
actually.
a different J.P. Morgan.
That would have been-
rather.
That would have been better. 1954, Rowdy Roddy Piper, The Canadian professional
Yeah.
wrestler and actor, of course. He ran out of bubble gum, so he's just going to have to
he
kick
kicked
ass. That's it.
Yeah.
His character is just amazing, wrestling or otherwise. I mean,
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The
Yeah.
Maniac.
when
the
he
Maniac
popped in
loves
there,
you guys.
Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Oh,
That's just a great
Horrible
B-rate
movie, love it.
sci-fi. Yeah, absolutely. But still, he just makes it great. 1959, Sean Bean, English actor.
no matter what he plays, he's the best villain ever.
He is, really.
He plays
Even
bad
if
guys.
Even if you're the good guy.
Yeah.
You're just the worst. Who else was there? 1972, Jennifer Garner, American actress. Large ears. I don't know much else about her. I'm not a huge fan of hers.
She ruined Elektra.
She ruined Elektra. Thanks.
She
well,
ruined Elektra.
Marvel
She
fixed
what?
it.
Was she Capital One?
Marvel fixed it.
Or something?
Is
She-
that what
Alias.
she's doing now? Is she pitching
She
that
was
kind
Alias.
of?
Well,
Alias
it's
was-
Capital One, but it's one of those.
Oh, Alias. That was what Abrams, J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
Who was
No.
it? J.J. Abrams or no? One of them
It was
people.
somebody, but yeah, that was a
Somebody
good
along
show.
those lines.
Good run. But
Who did Buffy? What was the guy who?
Wheaton.
Was it Whedon? Then?
Mhm.
That probably
Whedon's
was
in
something to do
Buffy.
with Whedon. Yeah. Okay. 1946. Getting derailed. Haley Mills, English actress. Of course, Haley Mills from classics.
Parent
Parent
Trap.
Traps. Yeah, which got remade unfortunately by the goddamn Lindsay Lohan. You piece of trash. 1947. James Woods, American actor and producer. He's still hostile.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's taking pot shots at the Marvel Universe nowadays. I don't know why. He's just
I respect James Woods. I do. I think he's
Right.
great. But
Yeah.
he always came off as like the poor man's Christopher Walken.
yeah, I could see that. I don't know. I mean, there's a few things he's been in that I mean, I'm not a big fan of his face. And then he had that one where he's like a lawyer on Fox or something like that. Shark. Ugh.
Well,
But-
Seth MacFarlane makes him look just like him on TV.
But I
that's
I
true,
love
yeah.
him when he makes appearances on
Family
Family
Guy.
Guy.
Yeah, and that I
Ooh,
appreciate
piece of candy.
that too.
Ooh, piece of candy.
1953, Rick Moranis, Canadian actor, comedian, singer, screenwriter, keymaster, or gatekeeper.
He's the gatekeeper. Vince Clortho.
Yes, have some.
He's
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
yeah.
Spaceballs, Strange
Strange
Brew.
Brew,
Oh my God, the
fuck.
Mackenzie brothers are.
Mackenzies are the
amazing.
best.
That's one of my only favorite Christmas songs.
Beauty,
Is,
Clark?
12th, yeah. Oh, hey. A toque.
Take off.
Yeah, Little Shop of Horrors. I mean,
Little Shop of Horses.
it's a shame what happened.
The
Tragic,
best.
of course. He lost his wife, and just dedicated his time to his kids and just raised
God
them.
bless him for
stayed
that,
out of
though. That's
no,
awesome.
and I heard he was going to pop up in something. He might, for a little bit pop up in something.
I hope he
which is-
pops up in the new Ghostbusters.
That would be
official
great. Vince Clortho,
3, yeah.
comes back in. Yeah, he's a good actor.
Louis Tully.
Always hilarious. Such a little guy. 1956, Eric Roberts, related to Julia. Cousins.
Brother.
American
Older
actor. He bunch of B movie stuff, directed to DVD, whatever.
But again, he played the gangster heavy in Batman. The
Yep.
Nolan Batmans.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's the last thing I remember
He
turning
played
off.
the
in.
master in the Doctor Who movie from Fox back from back.
Oh,
look
that's,
at
that he
you,
did.
Tiger.
Yep.
All right. Jeff Dunham,
Rawr.
puppeteer, ventriloquist, was born in 1962, and his demonic little ventriloquist puppets. Crazy old man, of course. The
Peanut.
Peanut? Yeah, Peanut was the first one I ever saw as like some stand up of his, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, back
at
in
the
the
time.
early 90s
Yeah,
when
when
he
I
was nobody.
Yeah, when I was younger, I fell for it. 1963, Eric McCormick, Canadian American actor and producer. Eric McCormick from Will and Grace. Like close?
Is it the Will and Grace?
Is that the guy?
I think so.
No, maybe.
Okay, we're
We'll
gonna say yes.
He looked gay.
He looked gay.
Wow.
Well,
You know how that applies. I don't know.
Wow.
I'm gonna stop the show right now. I'm gonna get phone calls.
Oh
It'd be
my
terrible.
God.
1963, Conan O'Brien, American actor, producer, screenwriter, talk show host extraordinaire, which,
Visionary.
honestly, he truly is. He is hilarious.
He is hilarious. Yeah.
He's got the specials where he's out just touring the globe, and he goes to Japan with a bunch of tiny ass people, because he's a giant.
Yeah. He's a tall.
He
ginger.
is. Plays guitar, and he's just naturally funny. Like
he
just-
wasn't he wrote for National Lampoons for a while. I
Simpsons,
think.
Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live. He
yeah.
was the coordinator of the pudding, the big
Jello pudding.
Jello pudding.
Are we not
I
talking
like
about
pudding.
Is this something
My
different?
dick where it doesn't belong.
We're not talking about the same thing, are we? Hold on. I lost that little clicky thing. Give me a
Oh
second.
man.
Okay, we're good.
All right.
David Tennant, Scottish actor and doctor, born in 1971.
We're by the ports.
We are, apparently. Don't mind us. There's a ship coming in to harbor. 1976, Melissa Joan Hart, Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
With Shalem the cat.
With Shalem. Hello, Shalem.
The only
Apparently
TV
she's
show
the
that
director and
features
producer of that,
Shalem the
yeah.
cat.
She has nothing to do with the new Sabrina, which apparently is dark, and she works with
Yeah.
Satan and stuff. And
Yeah.
I heard that's
There,
pretty.
Yeah.
She is a witch. I mean, mean,
Yeah,
Salem Witch. So.
but
Right,
the
right.
the new
The new
Sabrina
one's
is
dark.
dark.
Not like the
yeah.
new witches we
Evil
have.
cat and stuff too with her.
It is
Oh yeah, she's an actual witch in that one.
Good.
1984 American Ferrari. Sounds like a car trying to turn over. Ferrari.
You can't
American
fool.
actress and producer. She was Ugly Betty.
Yep.
This I do know. My mom used to watch that
Superstore.
show a lot.
Superstore.
Superstore.
Oh, that's
But she
the newest
produces
one
it.
about the big like
Yeah,
box
the
store. It
box
has one of the
store
kids in the hall in it.
It's
Mark
hilarious.
McKenna.
Yeah,
McKinney.
Mark McKinney. Yep.
Excellent.
Good
We're
show.
learning
How to
things.
Train Your Dragon.
How to Train Your Dragon. Nice. Good call, babe. On the 19th, Elliot Ness. 1903, American law enforcement agent.
The real Elliot Ness.
The real Elliot Ness.
That's
He used to
cool.
break down doors during the Prohibition areas and take on gangster mob families. That's it.
Prohibition. Yeah.
Prohibition stuff.
Stopping
He was
people
like,
from
the-
drinking.
Kevin Costner was him in a movie.
Oh,
Here,
come on.
here.
They brought
Let's-
down Capone.
Yeah.
Yeah. No tax evasion brought down
That's
Capone.
right, more than
He had
anything.
But-
syphilis.
Yeah, yeah,
But-
right.
I'm just going to suggest, in honor of Elliot Ness and Prohibition,
Oh,
a drink, sir.
huzzah! I'll drink that.
Elliot Ness,
Yeah.
Prohibition.
All right. Sorry, honey, I couldn't reach you over there.
Wow,
Yeah, you're over there. 1935, Dudley Moore, English actor, comedian, pianist, drunk,
Short.
short, very tiny
Yeah.
man. A lot of short people on the list.
A lot of
We
short
got a good
people.
mix. Of course he was
Arthur.
Arthur. Thank you. Yeah, notoriously, which they tried to remake with that
With-
douchebag British guy.
Yeah, that
What's his
didn't work.
face with the long hair?
Richard Bryan.
Yeah.
Mm.
No.
Yeah, fucking.
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
I'll pass.
I see. I'm glad we're all in agreement here. All right. See that, America? Richard Brand. I hope this gets to you. Just we're not a fan. 1946, the legendary, the incomparable, the Dr. Frankenfurter of your generation, the only one really, Tim
Yeah,
Curry.
Tim Curry.
I don't know. He was in Legend, Clue,
It.
It. His resume is amazing. He's done a bunch
Hunt
of
for,
other
Hunt for Red
Hunt for
October.
October.
Come on.
Gosh.
Yeah, Home Alone 2, yeah. And when he's done weird accents and bad guys and good guys and
But
weird guys,
God,
he's
he's awesome.
just...
He's
it's
amazing.
unfortunately how he looks nowadays.
He's
It's
got some
unfortunate.
bad health,
He has terrible health,
but
and it's sad. And I love him to death, and I don't want him to be on any kind of death list anytime soon. 1965, Suge Knight co-founded Death Row Records. Is he still in jail?
Probably.
Well, then we're not celebrating his birthday. 1968, Ashley Judd, American
we're not sending him a
actress.
cake unless there's a file.
Yeah,
on
with
it.
a file on it, right. 1968, Ashley Judd, excuse me, American actress and activist. It was that toast that got me.
Thank you.
Yeah, right.
We're a class
she's
act American.
kickboxer, I believe. She took up kickboxing.
Oh,
Ashley Judd.
she was because in that one movie where she beat the crap out of her abusive
Yeah,
husband or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
right?
She did a few of those movies. Then she did what? Kiss of the Spider
Spider
Woman with
Woman.
Spider Woman? No, it wasn't Spider Woman. It was
Kiss-
like kiss the girls.
Kiss the girls, make them die.
Yes. Well, probably not the last part, the first part. Now you're just confusing my brain. I don't appreciate that. We've been celebrating this holiday all day, and now you just want to throw words. 1978, James Franco, American actor, director, producer, screenwriter, and best friend of Seth Rogen. Who else
So
had a
he's
birthday this
also
week?
a.
They-
Actor?
Pothead?
Oh, yeah, pimp, right? Yeah, ironically enough, all potheads. 1979, Kate Hudson, American actress, daughter of Goldie Hawn and Kurt
And
Russell.
Was married. I don't know if still is, but married to the lead singer of the Black Crows.
Nope, I think she divorced him.
Good
And
for her.
Somebody else famous got involved. Wow, there are a
Good job.
lot on here. Oh, no, today, the 20th, 420. 1937,
Oh,
George
my.
Takei.
Oh, my.
Oh, my. Of course, Lieutenant Sulu.
Yeah.
Corporal Sulu? I don't know, he had a couple titles.
Captain
They had those one-offs,
He ended
too,
up being captain. Yeah.
that he showed up in, yeah. 1940, James Gammon. Is that right? American actor? I don't know who he is. Gammon?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that the bad guy in Zelda? 1949,
Died in 2010 though. That's-
no, Ganon. My bad. I was close. 1949, Jessica Lange. American actress, of course, from American Horror Story. And
Phenomenal actress.
yeah, phenomenal actress, yeah. My wife would play a lot of the music from American Horror Story and her versions of stuff, and I absolutely love it. Amazing stuff. Much more appreciation for her as an actress, seeing how she, puts herself out there with that. 1951, Luther Vandross, American singer, songwriter, and producer, baby.
Oh,
He had
Oh,
a velvet
yeah.
voice for sex.
Oh, smooth.
yeah.
I think he makes our list at one point today. List. 1964, Crispin Glover, weird ass actor
River's Edge.
with a dead fish dance. Yeah, one of the Friday the 13th. He's got this dead fish dance that he does, and it's just my god, he's so weird.
Awesome.
David Letterman always put him on, and almost kicked him in the face, and it's just awful things. He's a weird guy. Back to the Futures, of course. He
Back
was
to the Futures and
dad of Marty McFly.
Just the first one.
Right.
yeah.
Right, due to
'Cause he was-
some
It was a huge
weirdness.
lawsuit.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
like a huge thing about that. Yeah, I read that not too long ago too. Yeah, look
I,
that up.
I think pretty much every actor has been Back to the Future had been
Yeah.
replaced because the whole film was shot with Eric Stoltz,
Yeah,
and then they canned him
and then
then
brought in
reshot
Michael
it
J.
again,
Fox.
and-
Yeah, yeah. If you ever get a chance to
And the
look up any
girlfriend
like
changed like between each
the
movie.
backstories and
yeah.
stuff on any of the weirdness of Crispin Glover or the Back to the Future stuff, do so. It's it's quite
It's
interesting and
weird.
educational. Tells you a lot about the industry too. 1964. Sometimes you see him, Andy Serkis.
Love my Andy
He
Serkis.
is an amazing actor, character actor. I mean, he plays a monkey like nobody's business.
Phenomenal. Caesar.
Of
Awesome
course,
Caesar,
a cuttlefish. He plays in the Avengers.
Ulysses Claw.
Yeah, Ulysses Claw.
Um,
Yeah,
um,
he's
Gollum,
Snake.
Smeagol.
Snoke.
Snoke,
Snokes.
He plays Snoke in Star Wars.
Right.
Smeagol in Lord of the
Smeagol
Rings.
in Lord of the Rings. Yeah, but you never really see him
Yeah.
in much. But yeah, I think he's awesome. 1972, Carmen Electra. I don't think she sold that stuff. She did things for a
No.
while.
I think you can get her workout DVD or VHSs at Salvation Armies
Any Goodwill store.
for 50 cents
in a
nationwide.
20-mile radius. All right, 1972, Stephen Marley, American singer, guitarist, producer, one of the Bobs, or one of the Marleys. I forget I said that. All right, that's it for birthdays and stuff. A lot of music-related stuff in there. International Record Day and such happened, which brings us to today's topic. Today's topic revolves around records, vinyl, music, and I thought I want to bring in a professional. Well, at least an enthusiast.
An expert.
The closest person I know to an enthusiast who's not a record store owner.
It'd be nice to own a record
I'm
store.
sure it would, but with your collection and vast knowledge of, a chunk of music,
Yeah.
who better? My friend Kelly Melberg is here with us. We
Thank
appreciate you
you.
coming in, absolutely.
Happy to be here, guys.
I'm glad, because, of course, okay, Vader, this has got to
Vader, get your arm down.
Honestly, I'm staring at his arm the whole time. It's messing
He
me up.
smells.
We've met a long time ago at concerts and stuff when I was doing radio, which today I represented.
You were wearing the
I represented
KOQ
old
shirt.
school KOQ while we talk about music. I figured that'd be appropriate. But I met you when I was doing radio stuff. Just happened along, you and the missus, and then just became friends. We talked all the time about
definitely.
music and just random things, and it was awesome. But we never actually got a chance to sit and hang out and talk about things that we enjoy.
Yep.
So now that I have a format to do so with whomever I please, I like people who are passionate about things we talk about. We've had car enthusiasts, Matchbox car enthusiasts, action figures,
He-Man enthusiast.
He-Man
He-Man.
enthusiasts, bad movies, trauma movies,
Ghost
and
hunters.
ghost hunters, and the like. And I like people who are passionate, as we all do, because that's how you connect with people and make friendships. I mean, honestly, if you find that one level that you're passionate and you want to talk about,
You connect.
you connect.
Yeah, I agree.
And you have a passion for vinyl.
All things music, basically.
Right.
Definitely vinyl.
But how did the vinyl thing happen? Just obviously not just nostalgia purposes, as some people nowadays are.
As a kid,
connecting to.
a lot of times it started with my mom, 45 collections. My older sister, 6 years older than me.
Okay.
I played 45 starting I was probably about 4 years old and played them quite regularly.
What kind did they have?
Blinded by the Light, Manfred Mann,
Nice.
Band on the Run from Paul McCartney.
Nice.
Just many of the early hits.
Yeah.
My mom had a few records. I played those, the lawn player ones. That's where it first started from.
The 33s?
The 33s built. Well, the 33s built. My mom had some. And then I got more into music because my sister was 6 years older.
Okay.
So I got, for her boyfriends and her, I got a lot of, that. I
Yeah.
heard a lot of it and
Yeah.
seen it.
Hand-me-down interest.
Hand-me-down.
interest, yeah.
They'd have records around the house. I would listen to her records. My sister showed me how to take care of them. And, I mean, I was like the kid at 5. I didn't touch them. I took care of them. I played
Had
them
a pair
right.
of white gloves. Just
You
in
know,
case.
it
Right.
just became my thing. If I wasn't outside playing, getting in trouble doing some stupid shit,
Right.
I was generally in the house with records and toys.
Big pair of cans on.
Actually, stereos. Man.
Yeah.
They were pretty cool about it. you know, I'd play them, and then it grew from there. I mean, it started being like, got to be a little older, like 6, 7 years old. I wanted my own, and my mom worked out things. I'd do things for her, like, you know, be a young adult, do this, and you'll earn a record.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
we'd take journeys to the Kmart and Meijer, and they
She
all
always
had,
encouraged it, and
they
was never
encouraged
like,
it,
you
and-
know, I get all these
Yeah,
records.
oh,
and,
there's
all
some
you just
things
get
we'll get
listen.
into, but you know, there was times they didn't encourage it, but you know, yeah, they were always really supportive of music. My mom sings; she's sung in a lot of like Christian choirs growing up and whatnot. So and she'd
Yeah, I had
been
grandparents
recorded.
that were always Christian choirs
Yeah,
and playing
recorded
pianos and
and-
stuff, and sure.
So they were really receptive of it, but
Yeah.
it grew from that, and
Yeah.
you know, I just started collecting. By the time I was 7, anytime I wanted something, like you mentioned, Matchbox car, it was generally like, no, I want a record.
Mhm.
We go to Meijer. My mom would stick me in the record section.
right.
The guys that worked in the store knew who the hell I was, like
Yeah.
a kid. And they knew. I'd look through everything. I knew the covers. I knew the bands. I
Mhm.
knew it from the radio.
Yeah, and
Nice.
I
You
kind of miss
know.
the early days. I mean, Meyer at one time, like
Was the
on the
place
on the
Yeah.
other side of the register had all those weird little stores. There was a record store.
Yep.
It was
next to the
Meijer.
magazines?
Yeah,
Yep.
and it was up in
Yep.
the front, and it was like,
Yep.
oh, that-
Yeah, because now they have just like what, a bank, barbershop, or
Yeah.
salons, whatever they're
but it
called
used
now.
to be Purple Cow,
Not a
Yeah.
bank.
record
Yeah,
store.
Purple Cows, yeah, these
The
people-
Key Cutter
yeah.
was up there. The beauty
Yeah.
salon, yeah.
Yep. I
That
worked
record
at
store was
90s.
cool.
I worked at the one in Alpine. That was a 2-level that had the cafe that they want to put in McDonald's.
Oh,
in.
yeah, I
And
know.
they had, where we just sit up in the balcony all night, just drunk, just harassing everyone. It's like, oh, this is what we do.
Fuck
tonight. Just-
customers.
Yeah, go out in the car, crank up a bunch of Ministry or whatever we were listening to, you know, Skinny Puppy and stuff, and just hang out and drink more.
Just be you.
Yeah, just be
basically,
ourselves. Yeah,
yeah.
just be a bunch of rebellious teenagers, I guess, at the time. My mom was. I was born in Detroit area, raised
Okay.
around there till I was like 5, something like that. But I was always raised on a lot of Motown stuff. Elvis was big, of course, your classic rock collection, but you know, a lot of it, you know, some old blueser stuff. But that was my mom. I mean, my dad was into more classic rock and who sang Mandy? Like your Neil
No,
Diamond.
Barry
And your
Manilow.
Mandy- your white guy,
I-
you know, very
I don't know.
suburban white guy music and stuff like that.
Not
you know
a
what I
fan.
mean? Some Hootie and the Blowfish through time, you know. So unfortunately that part, but mom
Yeah,
was
oh,
like, into,
I-
mom loved Cher and
yeah.
Billy Joel and Billy Idol, and she actually used to be a punk rocker. She hates when I tell this story, so I'm glad I always get it on camera. But she used to sneak out and go to punk rock clubs and like see the Misfits or the Ramones.
It's
And
amazing.
it's really cool,
Yeah.
you know, to be able to have someone who understands, you know, your love for music. Okay, so you inherit that from someone, you know, their passion for it, and you brought some samples of things that mean something to you.
Yeah, pivotal to me. Not necessarily
Right.
the collectors will be out there,
Right.
but like the gem of my
Yeah.
collection.
Oh, I have this one.
I
that
have a lot of
I had
stuff
to
that's-
fight over 3
That's
Asian
worth a lot
men
of
and-
money.
Right, yeah, exactly.
These aren't necessarily that. These
I
are
went
things
to 7 conventions before I located this.
that
It-
changed my idea of what I started collecting and made me collect other things.
Mhm.
It's just pivotal albums to me. Things that, you know, I can relate to things. I mean, obviously I've collected. I'm the guy that's got like the original, the repress, the
Right.
freaking. This isn't about that.
Right, right.
And I know you guys brought some
Oh,
too.
we brought
Yeah.
some. Well, okay. Mine
and
don't
the-
really
and the
have
same
anything to
thing,
do with
it's-
pivotal points.
It's important to you.
It's important to me.
Exactly.
Like I look at these, or when I listen to them, it brings me to that point in life, and I remember why
Yeah.
and what it did to
and
me
honestly,
in my
and-
collecting.
Exactly, and that's why you keep things. That's why people
Yeah.
collect things. You know, honestly, we have this giant Darth Vader that the wife
I
and
have
bought.
I have one of it too, and I love
Right.
them.
We did we need it? No.
No, you kind of do need it.
Exactly.
You don't really need. Do we really need anything? No, it's more what
Let
it
me
means
pose this
to
question to you quick. If your wife called and said, "Hey, do we need a Red Skull action figure at the house?" What would your response be?
Whatever you want. It's
Okay,
if you
okay.
enjoy it.
I just wanted to clarify this for.
If you
okay.
enjoy it, it's all what you want.
I need another opinion on it. Sorry. I didn't pick things that were so much pivotal, but of course they mean things to you.
Yeah.
Okay, obviously. They're talking about things, so I'll just briefly discuss. I received this, and the reason I brought it was because it's Star Wars.
It's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah,
It's
right,
fucking
exactly.
Star Wars.
It's a
And it
brilliant
means
John
something-
Williams score.
Yes, it is.
Exactly, but
And
my
it's
boss,
carried through
I
all the
had
other
a boss,
films, the themes of it.
as I
and-
was leaving
yeah.
the company, he gave this to me. He's like, "I think you'd appreciate this," and that meant the most.
Yeah,
like,
I get-
honestly,
yeah.
I will, and I will take care of this because it does mean something to me. You know what I mean? It goes
Yeah.
nice with our little collection of Star Wars stuff, but you know, I just think it's cool. I'm like, oh, this is like an original. I'm like, oh, it took me to this weird nerdy place, which was awful.
Everything takes me to that
Exactly.
weird nerdy place.
yeah.
2 samples of Beatles that, Magical Mystery Tour
Abbey Road.
and Abbey Road, which are fantastic albums, but thanks to my mom, I wouldn't have had no appreciation for these albums.
Yeah, she's the one that.
She is the
gave
one
you
that,
the
honestly,
exposure
it
to
wasn't just 1 or 2 songs off the album.
She played the album.
Yeah.
She played the album.
Abbey
That's me.
Road
I'm an
needs-
album.
Right.
person. I
Abbey
don't
Road needs to
listen
be
to
played in
tracks.
its entirety. It is a perfect album.
I listen to
I
all
think
albums
so.
in
And a
their
lot of people are
entirety.
like, oh, but the Beatles are so overrated and this and that. Not really.
No.
Not really.
I mean, they led the way for a lot of things.
They're
I mean,
overrated for a reason.
they
Exactly.
changed the face of popular music.
Yeah,
they
it got
made it
crammed
all
in
right
your face, and yeah, there's a lot
to
of
experiment too. I mean,
it. But
everything.
they have a catalog because they've been around doing it forever, which led to things like the Chipmunks sing the Beatles, which Chipmunks sing the Beatles. I picked up because
He loves the Chipmunks.
and I was 7 years old. You know what I mean? This is one of those, along with the Muppet movie.
Oh yeah,
album
we
that I
were
had.
talking about that earlier.
Yeah,
Um,
it was one of the first. This was my childhood right here. Plus,
Yeah.
it was music that I knew, which also led me to Chipmunk Rock, which had like Betty Davis Eyes, Jesse's Girls, Take on Me.
well,
This
it's
was your
just the
80s
next
pop.
evolution in the Chipmunk sound. I mean,
Exactly.
really.
And as a child,
and the fact that,
that
there's
was
still,
the beginning
there's
of my
still
collection.
Chipmunks things
I
being
mean, you
produced
know,
today.
right.
Oh my god.
Oh.
And then American Graffiti had a lot of the classic stuff from the 50s.
It's a great film. Too.
It's a great film.
It
Wolfman
ushered in the
Jack.
resurgence of 50s nostalgia. in
Wolfman
American
Jack in
culture.
between, which made me impersonate that radio guy in my bedroom listening to this album. You know
Oh,
what
yeah.
I mean? And I'd put on other albums, and I had cassette tapes where I was recording myself doing these
Oh, yeah.
because of,
That
Wolfman Jack and the music that was on there, and just the seamless flow that he'd put through, and it was amazing to me. And it was cool to learn to be able to talk like that to people. So, little things like that is what got me into my collection of just weird, random, like Laurie Anderson from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah,
This obscure stuff, which I appreciate
I have a lot of random.
because of roots in music.
Yeah.
Which
Roger has a lot of random.
Roger's actually kind of his choices speak to a lot of who he is.
I agree.
Honestly, a lot of who you are.
Yeah. No
For
question of
example, what did you bring with
that. All
you,
right,
bud?
we're gonna start off with Oingo Boingo's The Boingo album, which is completely weird though, because this is a release on vinyl. They
Okay.
broke the entire album into 45s.
Oh,
They
wow.
just recently did that with Slayer's last album
Yeah.
too.
Really?
you know.
So
That's
it's
kinda
got a
interesting.
cool
It's
sound. You
different.
can
It's cool.
flip
Yeah,
song by
it's definitely
song.
Cool.
This was actually from my original childhood,
Okay.
Monster Mash.
Yep.
The 45
Yeah.
and the album.
They played at any, the Halloween parties they'd have at like the fire department, the local fire
yeah.
department.
Or
It
every
was-
day if you're Roger.
Every day at my house, yeah.
He'd
And
wake
it was
up, just
always
put it
that
on,
album.
start his day, brush his teeth.
Monster Mash.
Right. Monster
Also
Mash.
along those lines, Famous Monsters Speak from Famous Monsters
Frankenstein
magazine.
Talks.
Yeah.
Dracula's Return.
And this is one of those things. This is a coveted album. This is
Oh, it's probably
Sure.
highly collectible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, because that's some Universal classics.
now we're gonna go into the weird area.
Right. That's speaking loosely.
If
right
no one ever knew, there was
No
a
one ever knew.
disco 12-inch to
Which
the
we
Jaws
did
theme.
not. I have learned so. I was
Jaws
I'm-
2
I was
I
today
just
years
wanna
old.
hear it.
disco version.
I do want to hear it so
Yeah.
badly.
Oh yeah.
We don't have a record player, do we? We do. Okay, maybe intermission. Okay, or after the
Yeah.
show. Okay, we need to hear this.
It needs to be in our lives. It's very important.
This one speaks to who I am, but I brought it for you, Dillinger.
It makes me happy still.
The Dickies.
The Dickies,
Dickies.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space,
Yeah.
The album.
soundtrack, pretty much.
Great
It's
film.
an EP. It's 5 tracks, but
But the most important tracks that you will ever
Oh,
listen
come
to.
on.
Oh my god. My
Yeah, they're
wife.
selling life-size models. Those
It
of
was
them,
on, and my
Yeah.
wife said, "You know what? Yeah, let's watch it." And I've never known she'd never watched it. And her 8-year-old comes in. She'd never seen it either. I'm like,
Oh, well, we need to
we're
do
in for a
this.
treat.
It-
So
it-
we're watching
It's
it.
amazingly hilarious.
It
Right.
is.
3 times. Right. Watch 3 times. Amazingly hilarious.
It just is.
And unnecessarily.
Another weird one that's super collectible at this point.
is.
The Freddy Krueger album.
I'm
M45.
actually
Do the
jealous of
Freddy.
that one.
And In the Midnight Hour.
And in cellophane with the hype stickers yet,
Wow.
which means a lot to
Lot,
you.
yeah.
Kids today, you
Hype
don't
stickers mean stuff. Even if
Kids
you
don't
find
even
them
know.
removed, keep
Right.
them. Don't
Yeah.
get rid of them.
That's cool.
I'm telling you.
This is a recent find.
Okay.
Found it in a thrift store, paid 99 cents for it or whatever.
Yeah.
Went to a convention and met the artist,
Okay.
Julie Brown.
Downtown.
Julie Brown.
Julie Brown.
Julie Brown. This one has all the hits. It has Homecoming Queen's Got a Gun,
Was
and
that-
all the songs from Earth
That
Girls.
video
You
was
think that song would
ridiculous.
go over nowadays?
No.
Man?
No.
We're a little touchy. What's your
Yeah.
new song?
Yeah,
Homecoming
does not
Queen's
stand the
got a
test
gun.
of time.
But yeah, Earth Girls are easy.
Wow.
I wish
Cool
Yep.
dance.
if I were a blonde.
And then she had a show for a while.
She
Yep,
did. Yeah.
I remember she had a show
MTV.
on MTV.
Signed
I
it.
don't remember what that was called.
Told me a couple interesting things, and this old lady down here is
Grandma.
actually her grandma.
Ah!
And
That's
it
why
says
she has
grandma.
An arrow. That's
And then there's an X over this guy. That's
Yeah.
actually her ex-husband.
Ah!
And she
Oh.
just crossed him out.
Nice.
She's like, you are no. She should have just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spray
No
paint.
longer
Spray
are
paint.
you there.
Now we'll get into music.
Oh, you had music. I'm sorry.
Rob Zombie's Dragula,
Dragula.
45.
Back of his Dragula.
Wow. Ooh,
And we can't have Rob Zombie without White Zombie.
right.
I'm White
Oh,
Zombie.
That is a good album.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the
That before
the
the-
soul
before the
soul
cowboy
crusher.
hat?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
That's
Caroline.
early. That's early.
This is Caroline Records. So
Yeah.
When he was using the Fear and Loathing font.
yeah.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yep.
It's classic
What-
font.
that's a great
Yeah.
font, great book, great film. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with anything about
no.
that.
Picture albums.
Picture
Are you can
album.
attest this?
With weird
Yeah.
Usually don't
shapes.
play
Those
as
ones
well.
always confuse me.
Picture albums never play as well. I own a lot of them
Because they had the photo and they pressed the plastic over the top of it.
yeah.
It was
Right.
never as good quality.
they just always have this background
but
noise
how
to them.
can I not have an Alice Cooper die cut?
Oh.
Well, if we
Man.
cut you, you bleed Alice Cooper's blood, I believe.
you're
So
right.
I mean, you have to have that.
So House of Fire picture disc. 45.
You turn into a were.
yeah, I just, he just melts away. You know?
It's exactly what happened.
I'm sorry.
Nice.
And then to finish off, because we just had Record Store Day, and
Yeah.
I do bleed Alice Cooper.
Yes, you
Last
do.
year's Record Store Day
Is
exclusive.
it Alice Cooper? It is.
Live from
And
the AstroTurf.
autographed. Nice, man.
He
Of
sleeps
course.
with that.
I
I just
sleep
want
with it.
everybody to
Yeah.
know that.
It's
Beautiful
under-
packaging, foil cover.
That is beautiful.
There were 5 different labels, and then like I think 10 different vinyl colors.
Wow.
Comes with a poster. It's
Wow.
I love the height board.
Yeah.
on
Height
them,
board,
all
yeah.
that stuff,
That's like
man.
classic.
the,
I love
the
that
Japanese strip.
That's
so
sweet.
That's
Yeah.
my badge.
All right, Mr. Melberg,
All right.
share with us.
Like
won't
I
you?
said, I have everything else in the world. Not really.
Right.
But I have a lot.
Right.
But these all are pivotal to me, and they got me into collecting other albums in the genre, or even other genres. The first album I ever got when I talked about Meyer as a thing was this. Kiss Love
Kiss is
Gun.
Love Gun.
You
Love
know,
Gun.
Yeah.
love or hate Kiss. I love Kiss. I don't really care what you say. It was
Yeah.
my first concert as
Yeah.
a child was
Yeah.
Kiss. I've seen them every time. I just seen them recently.
The theatrics. There you
The
go.
Kiss.
Nice.
They're beautiful.
The theatrics.
You
The
know?
fireworks.
The painting of the cover.
Just
even.
everything. I mean,
Right.
they scared
man.
my parents. I remember when I got this album, my mom, like I said, you want stories about that. She was open when I brought her this album. She's
Yeah.
just like, she didn't want to buy it because of the Ken Kelly art on the cover.
Sure.
Because it's so just, you know.
misogynistic.
Racy.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then she's reading song titles and
Yeah.
she's just like, you know, Love Gun. I've got Love for Sale. You know, Christine 16, which we
Wait
find out
a
it's about
minute.
being with an underage girl, you know.
Plaster Caster.
Mom loved this album in the end.
Right.
Plaster
She
Caster
didn't
about
want it
real
on the
people.
console in the living room. Like, take it in the back room now, you little fucking heathen. But, okay, that's number one.
My introduction to Kiss. Side note. My
Detroit Rock
introduction.
City's actually on
On,
Destroyer.
Destroyer.
Which
No,
I
the movie.
I love that
Right.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, that movie. The mother who's just insanely like the
Yeah. A quick side
I love
note.
God and I hate everything that's Kiss because
My
you are knights
introduction
in
was,
Satan's service.
was it Dress to Kill, where they had like
Yeah.
suits on? Yeah,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
mom had that in her collection. When I'd go through her collection, I found it in there. I'm like, what?
Oh, I had
I
listened to Kiss.
I mean, I kind of knew what it was, but that was my first like. real
I was
glimpse.
already, yeah, I'm with you. Kiss Alive was actually the first one a
Oh,
couple
okay.
years before this really got me into it. My sister, older friends leave stuff around,
Right,
boyfriends.
right.
This is the first one I got. But yeah, Kiss was just one of the ones early on. I was
Mm-hmm.
just drawn to the kabuki mask and, you know, the.
Yeah.
It was such a
Mythology.
marketed, constructed band
Oh,
to do that.
Still is.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, you get toothpaste with Gene Simmons' fucking face on it. I mean, you have everything.
That's what you want. That's what you want to scrub through
So
your face.
Kiss, that's the first.
Mm.
We're gonna skip around probably a little bit as we go. The next one, see if we can get the light on that right.
There
If
you
you're
go.
on here.
Yeah.
Parallel
Blondie.
Lines from Blondie. At this time, I mainly was listening to mainly hard rock, radio rock, Punky said.
Yeah.
Listening to the AC/DCs, you
Yeah.
know, a little
Yeah.
bit of the edgier. Black Sabbath had been introduced to me already at this time. I was listening to it. You know,
Yeah.
the Zeppelin, all that
And
stuff.
Blondie
I
was
guess.
different from that.
Blondie was different. When I first heard Blondie, it was from my sister. and I heard like a couple songs, earlier stuff than this. When
Sure.
this album came out, you know, all the hits started coming out.
Right.
Yeah.
And I had to have it. And I
Yeah.
believe it was either another Kmart or Meyer. It was a Excursion with Mom. I had her buy it for me for $6 or whatever it was at the time. But,
It's
you know, it turned me on to a lot of different music. At that time,
Yeah.
I really wasn't open to a lot of music like that.
Yeah.
And what Blondie did for me, and they're still one of my favorite bands,
Mm.
is it got me to the point where like I was more open to the stuff came out. Because even before that, not to sound terrible, I wasn't really big on female vocalists or any of that. It just
I
kind
went
of
through
changed.
one of those things.
You know.
Yeah.
And I was open to the newer stuff that came out in the '80s after it, all the new wave. It just made me open to a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
like
if it,
the Joan Jett.
Yeah.
oh, any of it.
Pat
Runaways were a
Benatar.
huge one. Pat Benatar.
Right.
Blondie's one
Even
of those
like
acts that
like
no
Bow
matter-
Wow Wow, just
Oh.
any female fronted band. I started getting into it, and I attribute it all to Blondie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And now I have a huge affinity for female vocalists and singers, which I'm glad that this.
Yeah.
You know,
And
helped.
Blondie's one of those bands, no matter what genres you love, no one dislikes Blondie.
Oh no, I
And
just
Everyone
they-
loves Blondie.
And they've got such a weird genre that they do.
Well,
And
that's
I know
kinda
they
like,
label it as like a punk
it's
new
punk,
wave.
new
It's
wave.
punk, new wave.
Right.
Pop.
It's also
But also, like,
reggae.
the
It's a
Damned.
little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Well, like the Damned was considered punk, but they're more of like a pop rock. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they are. They're a little.
I mean, the things
They're
that
not
were
Sex
classified as
Pistols,
punk, and that's what
they're
people,
not exploited.
and that's the
They're
first thing
not-
people go to. They're like, oh well, punk. Oh, that's just this loud, noisy, blah. That's not.
Not
All of it
really,
really
no.
is. I mean, punk is just an alternative to what is. It's hard to explain, but no,
It's-
no,
yeah.
it's not.
It's
Right.
a lot of attitude.
I love
Right.
punk. It's definitely one of my other favorite genres. I know you guys love it.
Absolutely,
I
that's
know,
100% my wheelhouse.
But Blondie,
Yeah.
if you guys don't listen to this, check it out. I mean, it'll open
Yeah.
your mind.
Go now.
We're gonna skip into the a little later on. This is an album.
Well, heavier.
This is more you.
This is way. This is more me, is what Roger would call
Most
it.
definitely, yes.
I was already into black metal, what you're gonna see on, and the heavier, the
Sure.
darker death, and all that. But this album really just got me. Dissection Storm of the Light's Bane. This album is amazing to me. This is actually worth a little bit of money. It's probably the most expensive one I brought today.
Oh,
It's hard to get. They haven't reprinted it in years.
wow.
It's just an amazing album. It's turned me on to a lot of other, not the traditional Dark Throne, Mayhem, black metal, but it got me into
Right.
the stuff where the songs were longer, even more textured. Like one of my other
Oh.
favorite bands now, Watain.
Okay.
Watain's like one of my favorite bands, honestly. I mean, a lot of people hate on them because they say Dissection is basically, Watain is another part of Dissection.
Okay.
Eric Danielson from Watain actually did all the original artwork. His Trident
Oh,
Arts
wow.
ran everything for all the artwork for all the original Dissection albums. So he basically did that for him. He did stuff for stage work for him, roadied for him, did a bunch of stuff, and then he
Amazing.
formed Watain,
Huh.
which is one of the most coveted black metal bands in the world now.
Okay.
So
Huh.
this album to me is just one of those albums. I just, you know, if you haven't checked it out, give it the time. Have an open mind. Yes, it's black metal, but it gets melodic. It gets melodic. It gets a
Yeah.
little bit of both. It's just.
And that's what surprised me most.
It's a
about lot of
beautiful
black
album.
metal,
I mean,
because,
it's beautiful.
like you said, I'm more from a punk background, and I do like my rock. My wife is big on black metal and stuff
yeah.
like that, and we watch a lot of
We're proud of her
documentaries.
because of that.
Yeah, no, and she shows me a lot of stuff that
Yeah.
that draws my interest into it, and I'm not against it.
See, I've always been proud. I've been that guy for my
Mm.
whole life. I've always been the
Yeah.
guy, like every friend that hangs out with me, they're just like, they don't know when it. I just turn them on to all this odd music. And
Yeah.
it turns out at first, like, they don't like it or something.
Yeah.
And then, like, 3 months later, they're
Right.
owning it
They're-
all.
right.
They're wearing the
They're
shirts.
getting
Like,
tattoos
like,
and-
are they coming on tour? Can I go with
It's
you?
like they haven't been on tour in 30 years.
Yeah,
You know how
you
old
know.
that is, right? It's
Yeah.
like I never knew
So,
about this. Well,
This
now you
is a genre I love. This is an album I love.
Nice.
You know,
know.
give it its love. These two were going to do it once.
Nope.
The one was obviously listening
They
to
go
the
hand in
other,
hand.
hand in hand.
Right.
Dark Side of the Moon from Pink Floyd
Mm-hmm.
and Animals from Pink Floyd. These are reprints. I have the originals. These albums were just albums before I even had vinyl. Like I said, the records were sitting in the house you were talking about.
yep.
These are records
Yep.
I played. They
That's
laid
how I found
around.
Dark Side.
I would listen
Yeah.
to Dark Side of the Moon literally 5 times a day when I was like 6 years old.
Which
Yeah.
is
My
easy.
mom,
It's a short
my mom
album.
thought I need a fucking.
Good thing it's a
psycho.
short album.
This kid needs help.
It's a
You
quick
know,
5-minute album.
Yeah.
Yeah, just pop it in.
You know, and the same thing happened when Animals came out. It was just another one of those albums that was a couple years later. It was probably 7, 8 years old.
Mm.
It's still one of my favorite Floyd albums. I
Mhm.
literally can just listen to it over and over and over.
We played a lot of it last
You
night,
know.
just hanging out, just sitting around playing cards.
If
and-
you're into partying
Yep.
or getting inebriated, it's
Yep.
definitely one of
Yep.
those albums you can just flow with. Dark Side of the Moon. I mean, it brings out the oddness in anybody. And
Sure.
we cherish that. And I'm sure you cherish that at your show. So,
Yeah, we cherish it with our
maybe
children,
just a
with our
little.
show, with
We
our
cherish
lives,
it.
with everything.
oddities. But any Pink Floyd, honestly,
Yeah.
the whole catalog. I mean,
Wall.
Sid Barrett, the Wall is the greatest opera
Relics.
put on vinyl.
Absolutely.
Relics is early, definitely is good.
Metal.
It
Oh,
truly
Metal's
is.
another one of my favorite
I
Pink
love
Floyd
Metal.
albums.
Rock opera. The Wall
You
is
know,
truly
Echoes
like
is
the
like
first
one of the
rock
best
opera
Floyd
I've been
songs
to.
ever created.
Oh,
But
so
Floyd.
much, so much depth to it.
Yeah.
Guitar solos alone, or just everything about it. It just
Even
takes like a journey.
The
of
production. The depth of
It
that
all flows
production.
one into the other.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about Pink Floyd albums, that no other artist has that complete capability of just they blend it
Yeah.
so
And
well.
they
Where
take-
even though it's completely different song and
Yeah.
different style, it's connected to the other ones in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
My
What?
theory is back then people still composed albums.
Oh, I
absolutely.
agree.
Oh,
Now
absolutely.
you compose a track that'll go around.
And ate a lot of LSD.
I would say the only albums that are composed now are very few metal albums. Not a lot of
Yeah.
them. There's a few that are composed, but
Yeah.
most of them are what he said, cut and paste.
Yeah,
They're
Yeah.
recorded all in different places in 20 different cities all over the world.
Yeah.
But, you know,
it is what it is.
it is what it is. My next one. You don't
Oh,
have this.
yikes.
Go get this.
Motorhead.
Motorhead Ace of
The
Spades.
Ace
Get a
of
fucking
Spades.
clue.
I think everyone has it.
And if they don't, they
Should.
shouldn't. This
Yeah.
album, when I originally heard it, I had to have it.
Yeah.
I think I had it probably the year after it was out. It was probably like 11. I don't know. It came out in 80.
It's
So
that dirty bar rock.
it's dirty bar rock, and
Oh.
it's not metal. People claim it is. It's more punk. It's rock and roll, as Lemmy would
Really?
say.
It's
We're
hard and
Motorhead,
fast.
and we play rock and roll.
It's-
He's done a lot of
It's-
things with a lot of punk bands too.
Yeah, he
the
has.
Young Outlaws.
Hawkwind.
Yeah.
I mean, early Hawkwind.
We
He
played
pissed
with
them
the
off.
Damned.
He
played
got
with-
kicked
he-
out
So
of
much that they
Hawkwind.
Yeah, he
actually
played
dropped
with
them
the
off on
Damned.
tour and never picked them up.
You're too high. You do the wrong drugs, they told him. That's where Motorhead, the name, comes from,
Yeah.
actually, because the Speed Freak, obviously.
Yeah.
But I got back into, like, the earlier, even before this, Bomber. It continued with them.
Yeah.
It got me into a lot. It made me look at a lot of other British stuff, and just not the Invasion stuff, the
Yeah.
earlier stuff.
Yeah.
It made me start looking at other stuff when, you know, it got me into more like The Priest and, like, just name it.
New
The
wave,
Saxon,
new wave of
new
British
wave
heavy metal.
of
Yep.
British heavy metal. Everything you got there. Diamond had all of it. This is the album that got me into all of it.
Well, kind of
Forgot
like the
about
Blondie.
Motorhead.
I love Diamond Head, but
I
Motorhead's
do
kind of
too.
like Blondie. They're loved by all genres.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
definitely.
If you're a
I
rock
mean,
guy, if you're a thrasher, if you're a
Well-
punk guy, it's Motorhead's always your go-to.
The guy that loves AC/DC to the guy that loves fucking Merciful Fate. They all love
Yeah.
fucking Motorhead.
He just drank
Exactly.
whiskey,
Lemmy
smoked
is a
cigarettes,
god.
rocked a bass. Yeah,
You know.
and that's why he's got that tagline. Lemmy's a god.
well.
I think it's on his tombstone.
It should be if it isn't.
If it's
yeah.
not,
I'll-
hey, give me a
let's start-
chisel. I got a
start
flight
up-
to catch.
Let's start up a donation. We're putting it on his fucking
Can we do
tombstone.
a Kickstarter, a
But,
GoFundMe?
Ace-
Is that what we do? That's what
Here's
people do
a-
nowadays.
One that
I have seen this artwork
really
so much.
made my mother look at me different, and we went round and round. We talked about this earlier. I'll go into it and try not to go too long. But
That's all right.
Venom, Welcome to Hell. Got this album, and it wasn't at Meyer, that's for sure. One of my sister's friends, we went out. They take me on excursions to record stores,
Believe in Music?
Yeah.
places like that Rock Cafe in Battle Creek where I grew
Oh,
up
okay,
for a
yeah.
while. I grew up in different areas. Crazy Bob's and is
Oh,
my
wow.
first real record store in Jackson that
I've
I
heard of
really
that place.
loved.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a big head shop and all
Okay.
that. 420, it's a head shop.
Yeah, I was around here
With a
off
lot
the
of
wall in
vinyl,
the Believe in Music.
lots of T-shirts and all that.
World or whatever.
Jackson.
Yeah.
But Welcome to Hell, what it did is my mom, I'd listen to this like I listen to other albums like 5 times a day.
Right.
I'm like 11 probably, 12.
At
okay.
11.
You know,
It goes to 10,
come
but
on,
you put it
dude.
to 11.
This album is just nothing but evil from start to finish. And I'm screaming the lyrics all the time. I mean, my mom went to my dad,
Mhm.
and they started dabbling in Christianity, which they do now, which I'm not a fan of. But you
Right.
do what you want. I
They're your
support you.
parents. Right.
They made me go to certain things, like, okay, like, we're going to go to this thing about music that talks about Satan and music. I had to go to these, like, you know,
Seminars
and
counselors.
whatnot at little churches and schools, and they took me to one where it was the back masking, and I had to listen to
Right.
records backwards and all that, and I'm just
Right.
like thinking, cool, I want to go home and do this.
Yeah, right.
You know, I mean, it was just like
I'll go
that.
play on my record backwards, see what I can find. Right.
Well, the funny thing with backmasking is they always play those things. Didn't you hear it? And
Yeah.
you can never hear it until someone says it.
They
and
implant it
and
into you, yeah,
suggest
and
it.
you're like,
Yeah.
It's there. It's
It's like
it
everything.
sounds like you, said
know,
I
I
like
always
baloney.
say
I don't know. Baloney, Satan, is that close? Is that the
it's
same
your
thing?
mind. You
It's-
know
it
me.
is.
I
Like
don't
we
buy.
said
I don't buy a
psychosomatic.
lot of
It's just-
stuff.
Yeah, totally.
No.
But this is the one you go with the dissection, the merciful fate, anything evil, which I'm heavily into evil music. This is the one that influenced it.
And
You
you're
say
not-
Black Sabbath, they were Christian, man. They were Earth.
And
before they were
disclaimer,
Sabbath.
Yeah.
Disclaimer: you're not an evil person.
Oh, I'm not evil at all. I don't really believe in anything. I mean,
Right. You're just
what
a guy.
I'm just a guy
who
that
likes
likes
records.
really dark, weird
Right.
shit.
There's nothing wrong
Let
with
me
that.
take care of your
That's
children for the weekend. It's okay.
And as I mentioned, my wife
No,
had
I'm not gonna do
I've
that.
seen this image so
Yeah.
many times because of my wife's shirt.
Yeah, it scares some people.
That's why I know.
So
it the
this
most.
one, check it out. I'm sure a lot of you have. I mean, it just
It's a
started
classic.
so much stuff.
Yeah.
It's classic. British Gods. And my last one I brought today, I guess this could almost go with the Blondie. This is one of the ones that influenced me. It got me into the weirder punk.
Huge fan.
Not just the weird,
Right.
like the earlier punk, like the
Right.
Misfits. This got me
Butthole
into
Surfers
odder
and-
stuff. Yeah.
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 The Violent Femmes debut album.
Glorious.
Wisconsin Gods,
Album.
3-piece. I mean, basically a lot of this is just acoustic. It's played
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
acoustic instruments.
Just ugly guitars.
They're
They're
great.
barely
The
even
lyrics are quirky.
Yep.
They're intense.
His
They're
vocals are
stupid at
is
times. His
all
vocals
they
sound
are
like he's on
silly.
helium.
They talk about pushing people in wells.
They talk about tons of shit. I
It's-
love the album
yeah.
after this too. I
Yeah.
mean, Hollow Ground's
Yep.
great.
I got a
mean,
chance to see them live. They
I've
came
seen them
in.
a couple times.
They
yeah.
came in where we came in,
Yep.
like playing trumpets and drums, and we're like,
They're
this is
they're playing
amazing.
trash cans and grills
Yeah.
for drums, dude.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Early
mean,
Blue Man.
My wife's actually from Milwaukee area, and she actually seen them when they were starting out at
Really?
the first couple summer
Oh, that's
fests I
awesome.
had there. So yeah, Violent Femmes is just one of those ones. I mean, give it a chance, guys. It's
Front to back.
interesting.
And
front to back.
this is another one of those albums. I
All
think
their
everybody owns it.
And if you
everyone
don't, you should give it a try.
can
I mean, I've
or
had people tell
has
me
it.
they, like I said earlier,
Mm.
they hate it, and then all of a sudden you see them later on, and it's like, you know that album, that Violent Femmes, yeah, I dig that now. I'm like, how could you not?
I was
You
I
know?
was part of, as I'm sure you got, I was part of that MTV generation.
Oh, me too.
Honestly.
I mean, I was addicted.
My mom
to it.
raised me on music, and then MTV generation, and then it wasn't really till the 90s I developed my own, you know what I mean, taking in what I liked and what I wanted to hear, and like really solidified all the punk rock that I had heard that I really enjoyed. You know what I mean? And then I really latched onto that grunge era
Yeah, I like grunge.
and phase, which led me to the Violent Femmes through, listening to
Well,
old
grunge made a
Nirvana
lot
and-
more people look at like more odd because a lot of it had that.
Yeah,
punky
it was
or
it
that
was an
obscure
alternative
influence.
Well,
to what they were listening
Anything
to.
that was on
so.
Sub Pop at that time.
You know,
Indie,
Sub Pop.
indie stuff,
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
underground labels. I was getting cassette tapes from people
Oh, yeah.
and weird 45s and dark back alleys. People are handing you like weird here.
Yeah, and
check out
that
this,
always
man.
brings up the conversation how like
You don't know.
hard rock and heavy metal was killed by grunge. I don't know. I never
No.
stopped listening to any of it the whole
no,
time,
why,
so I don't buy
why
it. I
can't
listen to
be-
both.
Why
and
can't it exist in the same thing?
so should everybody
It
else.
feeds on itself. It should.
It really
all
does.
come
And
But
together.
that's-
everybody,
that's my,
everybody- there's a home for all that stuff, anyways.
My vinyl, but
All right.
I have a lot more. Just so you know.
Exactly.
You got it.
how many about would you say?
Are we just vinyl, or do you want every kind of format?
Say just
anyway?
vinyl,
Oh my
you're
God.
looking at about-
Yeah.
Probably close to 4,000 now.
Wow.
I mean, all of it. I mean, I even have like cassettes. I got 500-600 working cassettes, 150
See,
working.
cassettes, that was my
eight-tracks,
jam in the day. Cassettes was where it was
2,000-3,000 CDs.
And I've
mixed cassettes. Where
I've
you just
got lots of
oh,
stuff.
Oh yeah.
and I've been there and I've seen the shelves and I've seen the organization that Kelly puts
oh,
in these
it's
records.
a
and
shop.
Yeah,
You are
it's
passionate about it,
beautiful.
and you take care, and you,
I honestly,
love
it's,
music.
it's one of my favorite. Live music too. That's another
Yeah.
thing with me.
Yeah.
Live music, I bleed it. I go to shows constantly.
And it's different from what you get on your albums. I mean, bands sound different live.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that produced quality, and you're gonna get some amazing stuff,
And you're gonna get some bad
and you're
stuff.
gonna get some shit
And
where
you
you're
know
like,
what? That's part of the
"Wow,
gamble.
Why do
live
I have
music."
12 of these albums?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'll listen
But
to it
the,
again.
but the
Right.
thing with live, and I've actually had this conversation recently.
Mhm.
We all know Cheap Trick's I
Live
Want
Buddha
You to
God.
Want Me.
Yeah, it's
Everyone's-
different version.
The
too.
original version is so different than the
Yeah.
one they play
What's
live.
on Heaven
and,
Tonight?
and that's
Yeah.
that's the one that's the hit.
I love Cheap Trick.
I love it. I love that a song can evolve live.
I was
and become
introduced to
either
them
what
with
it's supposed
Live
to
at
be.
Well,
Budokan.
I
don't
believe
have
it's
that album.
almost twice the speed live. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
And the
way-
piano's all
yeah,
gone.
it's
The
way
energy
speed,
off that
Yeah.
live performance. You can hear the crowd freaking out. And what were they?
Yeah.
Brazil or
Well,
Budokan, Japan.
Budokan, Japan. Well, that's
I
the
don't know where
funny
that
thing
is.
about.
I don't know my geography.
Well, live at Budokan, it's funny because Cheap Trick was like they kind of had a fan base, and then that album blew up overseas,
Right.
and that's what actually made them blow up back over here.
Yeah.
The early catalog got popular, and
And-
then everything they came out with for a while
And
was
they,
popular.
and
Is that really what time it is?
CBS Records actually released at Budokan domestically because the import was outselling their albums,
All right.
so they had to release
Shut
it.
your face.
Yeah.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to intermission now, because we're running long. It's just because I'm loving our. What?
Keep talking.
No, we're okay. We're going to intermission now. Are you ready for intermission?
No.
Are you serious?
So I say keep talking.
He said, "Keep talking." Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
This is how
I'll
the
drink the
show's gonna
water.
go.
I'll get in the corner.
No,
Just
no,
don't,
no. No,
kidding.
we let him out to do the show, but he's got to go back. And,
Jim
One more
Jones.
minute.
He gets
Okay.
chained back up.
Try the Jim Jones juice box.
Maybe
Yeah.
not.
Try the Kool-Aid. It's all right.
Well, that's fine. Give me. Okay, well, I'll do one
No
more
Jim
minute.
Jones, the
I give
Kool-Aid
you 1
kid.
minute. Okay. We want to thank, because we have to do this, and I almost forget every time. Sponsors, not sponsors. I didn't do that when we
Sponsors, not
started. Puck Cider. I'm showing you this. Okay, Puck Cider's delicious new phenomenon, but that's not what it is. I'm gonna unveil it. He said I could unveil it. They got new labels. Look at this new label. Oh, it's all
Beautiful.
fancy. A little evil cherub thing on it. I don't know what that is. But Pucks has some new branding going on with their stuff, new flavors. This is a Brute cider, and it is crisp. It's delicious. It's wonderful. And they're doing great work, and they're now on tap at Butchers Union across from New Holland on Bridge Street. We stopped in there, so they're going on tap there. That's big. They're on at Hopcat in Detroit on tap. So big things are happening, and it's delicious. It's crisp. It's wonderful, and you can find it anywhere in Michigan. So make sure you do with Puck Cider and the Schaefer Cider Company. Tardy's Collector's Corner is one of my favorite places to be. I stopped in the other day. We got a couple things. Warned Gavin that I'm going to come back and do another video because we need a new video. I need all the videos I can of him and Deanna all the time because I love their faces and they're amazing. So Tardy's, that is on Burton and Eastern in Grand Rapids, Michigan. If you're in Grand Rapids, or if not, find them on the web. Just find them because they're adorable.
It's worth the drive, no matter
And
what.
it's worth the drive.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely
honestly,
worth
they're
it.
like the sweetest, most loving people who could ever own a comic book shop. And they're warm, inviting, and they nerd out, but they're just real people.
And that's one of those
they're
things.
amazing.
All three of us have that in common too. We're all big tardies.
We're
Yeah.
big Tardy
Support,
supporters.
100%.
Gavin.
Yeah,
I wanna have his
absolutely.
children.
I would have his children if it was
That's
physically
Gavin,
possible,
this
yeah.
is a call out. Can
Yeah.
we make children?
Yeah, make some babies. Deanna will punch you in the face, but
Oh, we're friends.
it's true. She's not going to give up Gavin like that,
No,
though.
yeah.
Come on now. She's
She
not
will
just
fight
gonna
for
let
him. Yeah, I
him.
wouldn't give him up
She'll fight
either.
for him. That's how it goes.
But it's an option.
Retro Rags, all kinds of amazing He-Man related images and Rancid.
I
who
got
they
a new,
hooked
my
up with.
new one was released this week.
Your new one?
Godzilla World Tour.
My God. Roger's got a new one too. So Retro Rags, check them out. Of course, support from Motu Joe. Love that guy in his Saturday morning
Godzilla.
cartoons. Godzilla. You know, I heard the words Godzilla. You're right. We're still doing a kaiju show. By the way, I got to
Gojira.
backpedal. Last weekend we had some issues. My wife is going to join me as co-host because she's my professional. She used to have a kaiju soundboard. She knew all the kaijus by sound. So who better to have on? But we're still going to do the kaiju show. I think we're going to wait till around when Godzilla comes out, which is soon. That way we can have a big full discussion so we can actually clarify what kaijus are to people. Some people don't know. They'll see some big monster thing and, yeah, technically, and I'll put the disclaimer out now, technically Power Rangers had kaijus.
So it's not just
That I don't have to talk about. No,
Yikes.
now I don't have to talk about it on the kaiju show. I'm just
Yeah.
throwing that out there.
What
That's
a
for
great
another
show
fight.
that was.
It's a very
Yeah.
thin line, but still, I'm just saying. Technically, there was kaijus. Okay, now intermission. Yes?
Yep.
Intermission, and go. We'll be right back.
At Schaefer Orchards, our hard cider is so good, it pours itself. Don't believe me? Oh, I got you. Puck cider.
his finger, just said fucking took off.
How much blood does he think the human finger holds?
I want to kill you, Jimmy.
Why? Why?
Why not?
So he wants revenge for killing himself because children blew party blowers at him?
Oh, shit.
Why is that prop not a carrot cake? If this movie is going to continue to straight up refuse to show me an eyeball gouged out with a carrot, then I'm gonna take matters into my own hands. Alright, that's about enough of that.
Give me my hat, you little bastard.
Now I remember. Now I know the source of your evil power.
I said, give me the fucking hat.
His evil power comes from a construction paper hat? And now he's a moth.
Oh. I hope he's not too ugly.
What mother would say
His
that?
father was no prize.
How's that for an entrance, asshole?
Well, if anything, Peter Rottentail inspired me to perfect my magic act. For my next trick, I will saw this rabbit in half. This isn't how magic works.
Had a good time tonight. Woo! Why are you still
Oh my
here?
gosh.
You're
Hi.
watching this.
Welcome back. That was a little something from our friend Addison who stopped by the show. The kid's great, and I love him to pieces. He's doing good things out there. He's working on making a movie, which I'm excited about. I'm not going to say too much because I don't know if I can. I don't know what he's doing. He's making a movie. I'll say that much. And I'm excited for him for a variety of reasons. But movies to watch in a rainy afternoon are some terrible cinema that you should or should not check out, or listen to him, see what he has to say. Excellent reviews on terrible films. So big thanks to him. He's doing great things. Go check him out, subscribe, and share to what he's got going on YouTube and everything. And of course, please, our show, share and subscribe to the world. We're going to try and get bigger and better as we go, and we can't do it without you. So nothing but pop culture and nostalgia, which leads to fantastic conversation we've discovered. Okay, we're going to get into a list.
The list.
Somebody's
I have
opinion.
a theory about.
I'm apprehensive.
Here's my
Somebody else's
I am apprehensive too, and here's my thing about this list. Is this from our parents' generation? This is like the same list that's been circulating since Rolling Stone put it out.
Yeah,
in
they
like
tweak it
70
every
something.
once in a while, but
Every
everything
once in a
kind of
while,
stays
there's
the
not
same.
too much.
And I think Rolling Stone's kind of pretentious and skewed anyways.
Yeah, I always
especially
have.
under today's standards. Okay, so I don't know who's compiling this list, but the number 100 they have on here, Rolling Stone. Okay, The Zombies, Odyssey and Oracle from 1969.
It's beautiful.
Zombies are great.
Love that band.
It's got a cool spaced out trippy cover, which is excellent. If you could see it, yeah, it's a little sketchy right now. It's getting a little weird.
It's tripping.
We're having technical difficulties.
It's tripping.
So
It's
that's-
tripping.
Because of the psychedelic
because
artwork.
of the psychedelics.
It
That's
doesn't know what to
exactly
do.
it is. And we tried punching it. Turn it on and off.
Maybe it had the
We
brown
haven't done
acid.
Yeah.
Option H, hit with hammer.
Put some tinfoil on the rabbit ears.
Okay.
Dude, hold that tinfoil over
Well,
there.
it changed anyways. The next one is going to be Sly and the Family Stone. There's a riot going on.
Yeah.
Sly and the Family Stone's a great band.
They are a
I'm
great
I
band.
agree, they're a great
And
band.
they've done some excellent things in their time. And excellent. Good job, guys. I was introduced to them, of course, my mother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was the big Sly and the Family Stone?
Thank you for letting me
Yeah,
be myself.
so-
Thank you. Yes, a lot of those. I'd catch my mom like vacuuming. She'd think nobody's
Dancing
you walk
and
in,
vacuuming.
Yeah, do one of the
Think
oh, oh!
Be mine.
She got all freaked out about it. It was great. Yeah, I didn't think anybody saw me. We saw you. Sly and the Family Stone, excellent. Elvis Costello makes the list. This year's model. I remember he got banned from Saturday Night Live
Yeah,
No.
went
You wanna
to
sing
Radio
something?
Radio.
Yeah, Radio, and he's got some decent stuff. I mean, he was more of a punky style.
He started out kind of punky, but then
Yeah.
went
Yeah,
really
he-
to the balladeer.
Yeah, I
thing, and-
agree.
Yeah,
Started
he
out
kind of
punky and
shifted
got
with
mellow.
his image of a Buddy Holly looking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He just kind of got pigeonholed into this style after a little while. What do they got in '97? Bob Dylan, the freewheeling Bob Dylan.
Bobby D.
Bobby D.
Bobby D.
Can't talk, but
Nobody
he
calls
can
him that.
kind of sing.
Yeah, he can write
Right.
lyrics well.
I was gonna say he's probably
Yeah.
one of the greatest composers.
He's
I
a good
mean,
Sure.
Great lyricist.
Write and compose. His voice is.
it's something to be desired.
Something
in
to
my
They're,
be
opinion.
they're,
That's a good way to put it.
ironically, and this is one of those things. Rule of thumb: anyone covering a Dylan song does it better.
Oh, I
That's
agree.
a lot of that.
totally.
Yeah.
Like I
Dylan
said,
covers are
I
amazing.
own a little bit of Dylan because I kind of own a little bit of everything, but
There's
I
only a
don't
few
know
of
how
the
much I've
songs.
played it, to
Yeah,
be
there's
honest
only
with
a
you.
couple of them that I enjoy.
You gotta have it to
Out of
have
all
it.
of
But
them,
that's
right. This is
Tommy.
the Who.
Tommy.
Which is a fantastic rock opera.
We were talking about this earlier,
yeah.
actually.
I think Quadrophenia is better.
I think Quadrophenia is better. I agree with Roger. I think
Okay.
the highlights on Tommy are phenomenal.
Sure.
Oh, Pinball Wizard.
I
Pinball
think
Wizard, yeah,
there's
stands out,
some
of course.
downtime on it to me. Like I can,
Okay.
because
A
I'm,
little
I'm-
bit of a lull
I
in
listen
the-
to whole albums.
Doesn't
I'm
have
not
that
going to
flow,
skip
yeah.
a track.
No,
That's
that-
me.
Yeah.
It's kind of tortury at parts. I mean, you know, but I
We
still
sit
respect.
through
I still
terrible movies.
respect it.
We sit
Yeah.
through terrible movies. We don't know what we're getting into.
No,
We
yeah.
might be
Exactly.
dubbed.
Yeah, we might be scarred for life, but you know,
Sure,
it's
well,
Tommy.
Yeah, that's
I'm
my
accepting it,
interjection.
but-
Quadrophenia, the better Who rock.
I-
But even
totally
the Who,
agree.
one of the loudest bands in the world.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
one
I've
of the best
seen
bands ever.
the Who
And
a couple times. and
Amazing.
yeah,
And
they're
still talking about getting back together.
No,
again.
they're actually
coming to
kicking
Van
off the
Andel.
tour here at
Right.
Van Andel.
That's
with,
what it was.
with a symphony
Grand
performing.
Grand
Yeah,
Rapids,
in a
Michigan.
couple
Oh,
weeks,
with a
actually.
symphony. Oh, that's all kinds of fancy. What do we got next? Oh, Miles Davis.
Miles
Bitches.
Davis
Bitches
with
Brew.
Bitches Brew.
I still think Kind of Blue is a better album.
Jazz rock fusion, 1970. Great time for it.
My favorite Miles Davis album is, I think it was a Bop City or.
Okay, yeah. I mean, but I do love Bitches Brew. I mean,
it's a great album.
it's very experimental, and it pushed a lot of other people to be experimental in their music, and not just in the jazz
Great
genre
cover.
in general. Great cover.
Great cover. Amazing art. That's the most.
I
That's
call
one
it
of the best things about albums.
Kind
to
of
me.
Blue because it's just the better
Kinda Blue is
cohesive
good. I
album.
do
I like
that
the
one,
earlier
yeah.
traditional jazz
Yeah.
from Miles.
Okay, nice. Who's next? Well, okay.
Here's a god.
Here's the argument.
Here's the argument. 40 greatest hits should not be labeled on here by any means. So
As a best album.
Yeah, don't completely fault us for this. But Hank Williams. Hank Williams deserves to be on any list because I mean that was just the leading country singer
I agree.
of his time.
Yep.
I mean, he was amazing. Of course, he gave us Hank Jr.
And Hank 3.
Hank
And
3.
Hank 3, of course.
And he's out there
And
getting
Ass
crazy.
Jack, was
with
that?
Ass
Yeah,
Jack,
Ass
yeah.
Jack and all that stuff. Yeah, getting all wild and drinking whiskey and
Doing
various other-
those shows of the double sets where he plays 3.5 hours.
Yeah, well, I'm going to do a country
Punk
show.
set and a
Now I'm going to do a
traditional
punk
country
rock
set.
show.
Weird.
Now I'm going to do a metal show. Okay.
Hank,
yeah,
Hank Williams is
whatever,
great.
man.
I agree.
Yeah, his whole family's got a good, legendary in music in general. Prince, Sign of the Times.
Sign of the Times.
Yes,
I
from
love this album.
1987.
Double album.
Great
Fantastic.
album. Prince is. Purple Rain's going to show up on this list, of course.
Oh, definitely.
Of course. It's
a great album.
He
I
was a
find-
good composer. He was a phenomenal guitar player.
Yeah. Oh, I think he's actually one of the better guitar players.
Yeah.
People didn't realize when he was
Eric
around.
Clapton said that.
Yeah.
Dave Grohl said that. I mean, there's so many guitarists out there. What was that? There was a video that popped up on the internet of him playing with like Tom Petty and Bruce Springsteen and all these other guys.
Oh, yeah,
and
he ran.
They all just kind
pops
of
in
get
and-
the hell out of the way,
Wow.
and he's just like just going nuts, and they're like,
Yeah, but I'm with you. I think
But-
Prince was a genius.
Yeah.
And I believe it was in Rolling Stone that they were interviewing Eric Clapton. Asked him, what's it like to be the world's greatest guitar player? And he goes, I don't know. Ask Prince.
right.
You
Yeah,
know, it's
he
like-
was underrated.
That says a lot.
He
That
was-
does say a
I
lot.
think he was overrated as his stature and his celebrity, but underrated as for like
As a
his
musician.
guitar playing. You know what I mean?
He's a really good
People
composer.
looked at the
Yeah.
wrong stuff back then and didn't really, signify the fact that he was an amazing guitar player. And introducing people like us as growing up as kids, listen to this, that hey, this guy can jam out and you need to hear it because it's dope. But
Yeah, and what I think
Nobody did
also ignored a lot too is that on his albums he's often playing the bass and the
Yeah.
keyboards and the
Yeah,
drums.
he plays
and
a lot of the instruments. on
this
most
is
of his
another
music.
greatest hits one, unfortunately. But Buddy Holly.
Buddy Holly.
I mean,
he's
we
great.
can't deny the Crickets.
Yeah.
Seriously,
The actual
Buddy
Crickets?
Holly and the Crickets. I mean,
Okay. And of course, unfortunately, the day the music died, Buddy Holly in that unfortunate plane accident.
Big Bopper.
With a Big Bopper and all that, and that did change a big genre of music in the 50s.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a big deal. That was music on that plane in the 50s, and then it was just gone like that, and that introduced a lot of up-and-comers and, you know, people who were, not impersonators, I guess you could say, but people who were very much like the unfortunate artists who have passed. Yeah, it picked up the pace, I guess, a little bit, but it did change music a lot. Next, Elton John. Goodbye, Yellow Brick Road.
One of those perfect albums.
Yeah, pretty much everybody has this in their collection. It's definitely the highlight of his albums to me.
Great artwork on the front of Elton in his satin jacket, getting ready to walk the Yellow Brick Road.
This album, compared to a lot of other Elton John, is more cohesive. It's solid throughout. Most other Elton John albums, like I was saying earlier, I just think like there's a few really solid tracks and some of the stuff in between.
Elton John compared this album to the White Album. To the Beatles' White Album.
Experimental.
The double album, yeah, exactly. Which, why not? Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, and he's got some good jams.
Flotsam and Jetsam covered that. Sorry, metal guy here.
You're good. Bring it.
Like my metal.
Stevie Wonder.
Little Stevie
Wonder. Not so little in this. Was he in 20s?
20s, maybe 24, 25.
Yeah, maybe
probably.
something like that. Talking Book, phenomenal album, 1972.
I honestly think it's one of his better albums.
And a lot of people say that.
It's got the Braille on it.
Yeah,
I own a copy of it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's got Braille on it.
He had a string of albums right there though, where he was doing no wrong.
Just the fact of his piano skills for obviously like Ray Charles being blind and having the skills of an amazing pianist and composer without being able to see your instrument or notes or anything. I mean, that's
as long as you can hear it.
Phenomenal skill and an amazing artist. Dusty Springfield.
Dusty
in Memphis. Yep, my mom was a big fan of Dusty Springfield.
Some great songs.
This is from 1969. Yep. Only Want to Be With You. She had like a Motown style of that, and she always wanted to be Aretha, of course.
Yeah. And
who didn't?
In Memphis, she literally went to Memphis to get that sound, that stack sound.
Oh, okay.
To do this album, because it was kind of a departure from her usual sound.
Like Son of a Preacher Man.
Like Son of a Preacher Man.
Okay, gotcha. All right. You guys are in debate about this one.
Well, we're not amongst each other.
Well, not amongst each other.
Just against the rest of the world.
The rest of the world. Folsom Prison's on here, which is a great album.
It's an amazing album.
But it's not San Quentin. You say.
We think San Quentin's.
I think San Quentin's a more solid album to me. I mean, I think they're both as great, honestly, as one another. I just prefer San Quentin.
This was propelled because A Boy Named Sue, the live version came from this.
Okay.
Pushed that album. San Quentin, I think, is a better album.
Okay, fair enough.
Perfect
masterpiece.
We don't need to talk about it.
Masterpiece.
Masterpiece, rock opera.
Top to bottom.
Talk about a story that flows. Just a story. I mean, it's dark.
A couple years after it came out, they made a film that's just amazing. Alan Parker made it. Obviously, we all seen The Wall. I mean, it's just an amazing film.
Oh,
too.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Everything around The Wall is amazing to me.
But that's the only thing that translates an album into a visualization that
It's really well done.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
It puts it
The
there.
only complaint I ever have is they've never released a soundtrack to the movie.
Yeah, because there's some different
edits are different. There's some
songs,
different songs.
Yeah,
a couple different mixes. I would love to hear that. Because
totally
there are some movie versions I prefer over the
one
album
time,
versions.
every time my wife would leave me, I'd play "Ooh, Babe."
Don't leave me now.
Right. I don't want to leave.
It's so beautiful.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful.
The shredder in front of my
It's deep. The Boss. Brucey Boy.
His most popular album.
His most popular album.
Most commercially popular.
Yeah.
Was it Born to Run?
Born to Run, I think, is.
I think would have been a better choice.
I think
this one, you guys stairs. It's very American.
I think this one sold more. By
it sold more.
This was America.
I mean, it's. I agree, but this is definitely loaded with like 7, 8 top 10 hits.
Yeah.
It's so loaded.
Yeah, and that's what it was. That's what it was arranged for.
I mean, Courtney Cox was in the video. Come on, I mean, you know.
Before she had any friends.
Before she knew anybody. And,
Which inspired the Carlton from Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
The Fresh Prince. I was watching it before I fell asleep last night.
That's because Courtney Cox. That's where we got that dance.
Why not?
The Lady of Soul herself.
Aretha
Franklin. Gorgeous voice. Of course, I was introduced to her through Blues Brothers. That was my first introduction to Aretha Franklin.
Okay.
And loved every second of that because she was just
Don't you
so
blaspheme
sassy.
me in here.
Don't you blaspheme me in here. She was just so sassy and everything, and then my mom was like, "Oh yeah, well I got some of that." And she'd play it and just
two whole
fried chickens.
and a
The
Coke.
other guy just wants white
Toast.
Jake.
Jimi Hendrix. Axis Bold as Love.
I pretty much love all Hendrix. I mean,
yeah,
we
I can't
He
say
really only
one's any
had a
better
few
than
albums
like
in
we
a
said,
short
he
span,
died at
unfortunately.
27.
Yeah, he didn't have a lot of time to put music out, but what he put out was solid. Even the rare, odd things that come out are all great.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of
started out-
depth, a lot of passion.
Well,
I mean,
started
you
out
could just,
playing guitar for James Brown. I mean,
Yeah.
you could just feel his guitar when he plays it.
Yeah,
You know what I
because
mean?
it was what Experience, Electric Ladyland, and then
Electric Ladyland.
Axis.
Access, and then
And
there's
then
what
some
Band
live-
of Gypsies
Band
came
of
out
Gypsies.
after.
Yeah.
It's
And this
yeah.
is where it started. You know, he was starting to expand. It's like, if he had gone past 27, if he was with us today, what the landscape of music
Where would he
be
be now?
different.
Oh yeah, I'm
No,
sure.
I think he
Well,
would have
you
just
could
kept experimenting more every album.
Oh,
was,
yeah.
But you could say that about
Electric
a lot of artists.
Ladyland's
You know what I mean?
definitely just amazing.
A whole
too.
lot of
Electric
artists.
Lady-
Like if they were still alive, like
That's-
what would
that's
they be
one of
doing?
the early
Who would they
perfect
be
double albums.
collaborating with,
I
or-
put Electric Lady over.
Yeah, Kurt
Oh, I
Cobain,
do.
something
I like
that.
Electric Lady better than like
Harvest, Neil Young.
Such a solid album.
I'm not a huge
great.
fan of Neil Young.
I'm not a huge Neil Young fan, but this
Yeah.
Like
album
I
is
mentioned,
great.
I like the '50s one that he did. I did
I like
that
Neil
one
Young,
because it's
but I
way
don't
different.
like Neil Young. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I have moments I can listen to it, like, and be like, you
Like
know,
with
this-
Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
I
attached to
own it, but like we were covering before, how often do I put it on?
Right,
But
right.
if you're gonna pick
know.
one album, it's Harvest.
Harvest, or even just the collection
enough.
ones.
Yeah.
Of course, the Clash.
Clash.
Another perfect album.
Really
British.
changed the landscape in the '80s of the punk pop.
Yeah,
Definitely.
They,
It
really,
made it
they
really
really made the
catchy.
blend.
They made it more catchy.
Surely did because they covered a lot of areas and stuff. And Joe Strummer, of course, a lot of people look up to him for his.
I think all their
guitar
output was
solos.
solid, honestly.
Yes, I agree.
I love all the Clash.
Yep.
I agree with you on
I
that.
pick and choose from time to time, but I jump everywhere. Of course, John Lennon.
Imagine.
Beautiful
I
album.
think Double Fantasy is a
1971.
better album.
Yeah, he was saying Double Fantasy, and I would.
This
it
one
is a great
possibly
album.
on the list mainly for popularity.
Well, Imagine's probably his best
Imagine's
song.
the most noted.
It probably had more people listen to it due to that than
But John,
his other album.
we were saying John's one of these people. Some of it's so experimental, he
Yeah.
just loses people
Oh,
in the
yeah.
process.
Well, he
He'll have a
married
few
Yoko.
songs that are
Yeah.
I mean,
imagine her
okay,
experimental noise and nonsense. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, honey, I love it. It's great. Let's
it's great.
print it.
Yeah.
No,
Let's make kids.
get out of my house. You're
And I-
scaring
I
the
think
children and the neighbors.
It's tragic. It's overlooked. I think.
Cats
I
are
think
falling out of
Harrison had
trees.
probably one of the best solo careers.
Come on, she broke
George
up
Harrison?
the fucking band,
Yeah.
dude.
Absolutely, you're right. Exactly.
I think
Let's be
Harrison's
honest with
overlooked.
ourselves, America.
Ogo broke up band.
Zeppelin 2.
This is another album that influenced me heavy. I was
Yeah.
really heavy playing this early on.
Yeah,
I,
and
House
I
is the
cannot-
Holy.
I
A whole lot
cannot.
of love.
Zeppelin
The first
4,
three albums,
Zeppelin
1, 2, and 3.
Zeppelin 3.
Those three are one thing to me, and they're perfect.
They're
I
all
agree.
just so.
3 is actually my favorite. But,
I remember listening to this with headphones on in
Yeah.
my like late at night. I was a little kid, and my mom coming out thinking someone was getting murdered. 'cause
Rocking a
I think I
Walkman.
was Robert.
You were doing
Plant.
Planting.
I was singing as loud as I could, probably like 11 something at night.
She's like, oh,
She's like, I thought you were getting murdered or
Tell
something.
them, are you
Oh,
okay?
Sorry, Mom. She's like, don't sing with
I just
headphones
love that
on at night
song.
anymore. I'm serious. It was hilarious.
Otis Redding.
Otis
blues
was
artist.
a god.
Otis Blue.
Otis.
could hit your he could hit
He,
your soul.
he could sing
Yeah.
anything and make it.
It's right,
you know,
right,
get
right
you.
around in here.
Yeah.
I don't know where that is,
He could
but I
punch
think
you
the
right in your
soul's like
soul.
right
I mean,
in this area.
honestly,
Ah!
Tenderness is like one of my
Otis
favorite
Redding.
songs from anybody in
Tenderness
that
is one of
genre.
those
I
great
love
songs.
that song.
Tenderness is a beautiful song.
When you were talking about John
Um,
Cryer earlier, it makes me think of the scene
Oh,
Ducky
and
with,
Ducky
with
and,
him. Yeah,
Pretty
it
cool.
makes me think of
That's stuff introduced me to stuff like Sam Cooke.
Oh, Sam
things like
Cooke's
that.
great
Yeah.
too.
Got
Sure,
me connected
dude.
with
Sam
that.
and Dave.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
I'm a huge
stuff,
Sam and Dave fan.
Slow dance with the wife whenever I can. We'll just throw those jams on. 1980. AC/DC gave us Back in Black.
This is after Bon Scott passed away. I mean, I do like Brian Johnson. I love pretty
Sure.
much all AC/DC. This album, though, definitely catapulted them to the biggest band in the world.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Growing up in the 80s, there was not a field or house party that you went to that this album was not played in its entirety every time.
I mean, honestly, AC/DC and me, the albums I remember first were like Power Age and that. But I mean,
Sure.
when this came out, yeah, I had the
Highway to
cassette,
Hell.
I had the vinyl, I was in the yard listening to it.
Highway to Hell was great.
Driving everybody crazy. I'm more of a Bon Scott fan.
Sure.
I mean, I just think
Sure.
he had more depth to his voice.
They were a
but
more
I
diverse
can't-
band.
And it
with
was
Bon.
different. Yeah, it was
Brian
different.
Johnson.
They were a
I
diverse
mean,
band, but
A lot of similarities are there, but honestly. There he is. Purple one. Purple Rain.
Perfect soundtrack.
Perfect soundtrack.
Great
album.
soundtrack for a movie.
Great film.
Absolutely.
It actually set the precedence for a lot of films.
It's a
after.
terrible film.
Oh no, it's great.
It's
great.
It's shot beautifully.
Give me the podiums.
It's got great cinematography.
Well,
It's got great soundtrack.
Okay,
it's
that's
a
what you're
shitty
saying.
film.
But the way they filmed it and the way it flows, a lot of things after that, they kind of like made films similar to that. That's what I'm getting
But
at.
yeah, the acting, the story. That,
Oh yeah,
not
there's
so
nobody
great.
that can act in
Apollonia?
it.
What?
Yeah.
Morris Day is hilarious.
I love
Morris Day is amazing. Yeah.
The time's amazing.
Good time. James Brown.
What you think of James?
Star Time.
Star Time. So yeah.
James Brown
Popcorn.
at his finest. That's a young James Brown.
Yeah, it is.
That's why he's still up on the good foot.
Why do I always think of Eddie Murphy?
Eddie Murphy,
Hot
yeah.
tub, want a hat?
Ooh,
Two
hot
in a hot tub.
Hot tub.
Where's my toe?
That's the first thing I think of every time.
That's a James Brown lyric. Hi. Ooh, that's good.
Hey, that's good. Lucius, you know what he's saying? No, just keep talking. He's paying us.
James.
Yeah. Ha 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 ha.
Oh my God, we're all those guys that can quote Eddie Murphy's Delirious from beginning to end.
Delirious is like the best freaking thing on earth.
Yeah, why isn't that on this?
Maybe it is.
That's
I
one
don't
of
know.
the
Let's
greatest
go find
albums of
out.
all time.
Well, the
This
album's
is
called
my list. I
Comedian,
told you.
right?
This is
Yeah,
a
the
Rolling
album's called
Stones list
Comedian.
of what's,
okay.
you know.
Which
what's
is why we got Neil Young.
Neil Young again after the gold rush from the 70s.
It's
Southern Man.
another Neil Young album.
It is another Neil Young album. Physical Graffiti.
Oh, great
Amongst
album.
the list, 1975, of course. A deeper album.
In My Time of
Double
Dying.
album.
A double album. Yep. Well, and they could crank out double. Zeppelin would just be like, yeah, we're fucking making music
Like, we can't just put out one
forever.
record. We're too creative.
Amazing. You guys, Curtis Mayfield and the Superfly.
I love this album.
Honestly,
When you're feeling
love,
like
I have
love
an
this
erection right now from this album cover.
I'm gonna put a
absolutely
feather in my
love-
hat. A big giant feather coming out of my hat.
I said
right now.
every time I see
Right.
this or hear it, I want to get a pimp hat.
And
I
you just
want
want
a
to
cape.
strut down the
and
street.
I want
Yeah.
a cane right now.
Yeah.
I want aquariums in my
Yeah.
shoes.
Good.
I'm gonna
You
get
let
you
out Waka
sucker.
Chicka Waka Chicka.
Good
Yeah.
movie, but you know the
Yeah.
foresight to let just Curtis Mayfield do whatever he wanted for the soundtrack.
Right.
Brilliant.
A lot of
Brilliant.
Waka Chicka Waka Chickas.
Oh
going
yeah,
on.
there's tons of that.
Paul Simon's Graceland. Phenomenal album. I like
Phenomenal
Paul
album.
Simon. He's a little guy.
I
Just
like
tiny
his,
little
I
fella.
liked his earlier work though.
Really?
Yeah, me too. I mean,
I
isn't this
50 Waves
isn't this
and
Call Me
Cobra
Al?
Chrome
Isn't it this album?
I think
Yeah,
that
it is,
one,
right?
we
I
may
don't.
have
I
had
don't
that
want
one.
anybody to call me Al. I just want you guys to know that.
I would like a body.
Chevy Chase and what was it? Chevy Chase.
Great
the other guy.
video.
Yeah, video's fantastic.
The
Rob
great
Williams.
video.
Rob Williams. Why did I say Chevy Chase?
No, it's Chevy,
Oh, no,
it's
he
Chevy
didn't make Call
Chase
Me Al.
and
What am I thinking
Paul
of?
Simon.
I'm thinking of Bobby McFerrin.
You're thinking of Don't Worry
Oh,
About
you're
that.
thinking of Don't Worry, Be Happy, dude.
Moving on.
That's
Uh,
annoying too.
This one used to creep me out when I saw it in my parents' collection. Billy
he's
Joel's The
watching you.
Stranger.
He's
yeah,
watching you.
because of the face, the creepy face, and the little weird dark circles under Billy Joel's eyes that he's
Yeah.
had for 80 years.
Yeah, he's always been tired.
And he's still got pipes.
Yeah,
I
Billy
like
Joel
Billy
he is,
Joel.
he is an
I like
amazing
Billy
wonderful
Joel.
composer.
and songwriter.
I don't have any
Absolutely.
problems with him. You can make your face all
Yeah.
you want. I like Billy Joel.
And this Glass Houses.
Glass Houses.
Glass Houses has
Glass
probably
Houses.
his most popular for singles.
Yeah.
Could be
As
wrong,
far
could be
as-
right.
Yeah,
Still rock and roll
yeah,
to me.
that's got a lot of the more mainstream stuff that would pop
Yeah.
out. But The
Good stuff.
Stranger, that's one
Yeah,
of those
The
good deep
Stranger.
cuts that's got stuff that
Oh
really
my God.
showcases talent.
This is it all. Ruins.
Yep.
Zeppelin 4
Zeppelin
is what
4.
they call it, but it's
71.
called
Or
Ruins, just
Yep.
so everybody
Ruins.
knows
Or
Yeah, so
that.
this gave you
It's
rock
called
and
Zozo.
roll,
Zozo, too.
When the Levee Breaks, Stairway to Heaven.
So we're having
Black Dog.
Four Sticks, Black
No
Dog.
stairway. Sorry, no stairway.
No stairway.
Those are the rules. No stairway. Off the Wall.
Off the Wall. We Can't Deny. Great album.
Great
Michael
album.
Jackson, when he was still black, was fantastic.
This is before he started bleaching
He
himself.
was amazing.
His nose was okay
Or
with
his
him at this point.
pigmentation problem, or the medication he
This
had to take, or
honestly
the
is-
Jesus juice. Whatever the excuse is.
Probably the only Michael Jackson album I love. People get on me because I'm not the hugest Michael Jackson
You don't
fan.
have
I
to be.
respect him.
No,
And I own a
that's
bunch of
where
it.
I'm at too. Yeah, he's
But I
creepy in
just-
his work.
I'm just going to go out, though, and I don't think there's enough credit between Off the Wall and Thriller.
I think Off the Wall is better.
Quincy Jones,
Quincy Jones.
deserves more credit than he'll ever get.
Who gave us Ann Perkins? Rashida Jones.
Yep.
Sorry, Parks and Rec. But no, this one had a Rock With You. Don't Stop Till You Get Enough.
Yeah.
That is one of my, hands down, one of my favorite Michael Jackson songs. And the video is amazing. Because it's just like this weird, like, where they put a VCR against a TV while they're recording them or whatever, where it's like that old, it's just terrible. Oh, but it's amazing. Great
It's
album.
beautiful.
I do love it. I agree with this album on their list there. Radiohead's Cadet.
I like Radiohead. I don't love them like everybody
This is
else.
one of the last
I'm on board
albums
with
that
you
I
on this.
really, really enjoyed front to back of theirs.
I love this album, but I
Yeah.
actually like. I think I like the Benz,
Okay, Computer.
Benz more.
The Benz I am a
Their
huge
second
fan of.
album.
Yeah.
OK Computer is really good too.
It's got a couple hits out.
People
that one,
try to
that
claim that's Floyd. Shut up. That's not Floyd sounding.
What?
A lot of people do.
Who?
Oh
Who
yeah.
are these people? Give me names. I want a list.
They've compared it
We're calling
on
these
many
people.
lists.
Let's
When you're
we're getting
talking
these
about lists,
We're getting these people on
that's
the show.
what I'm saying. They'll give
Okay.
it like aspects of like. I'm just like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Well, see, I was
I'm always like,
but that
It's
comes
not
up
hints
often with
of this.
Floyd.
It's like they're paying homage. Shut your face.
That comes
You
up
know that
often
word.
but like I
Floyd,
said, the
'cause
the
when,
Benz is mine for
When
them.
Queensryche released
Fair.
had Silent Lucid, oh, it's very Floyd. Like, that sounds nothing like Floyd.
No.
I love
No,
Queensryche,
you
I do
Yeah.
too, but that doesn't sound like Floyd.
Van
Oh,
Morrison's
God.
Moondance.
Top 10 album of all time to me. I love
Yeah?
Moondance. Oh yes.
Really? The
Me and
whole
my
album?
wife, I fucking love Moondance.
Nice.
Planet
Excellent.
Caravan, all of it.
It's a great album.
Caravan,
Even
for
that
no
song
question,
alone is one of those. You know what I mean?
Just
You
all
hear it,
of
you're
it.
like, yeah.
It was
it's a
one of
marvelous
those
night for a
ones
Moondance.
that, like, yeah, it's singer-songwriter, whatever you want to call it. It,
Right.
like, it took me a minute to get into it as a kid, but once
Sure.
I got a little older, like, now I can listen to that album at any time.
He's got,
I
he had
put
a
it
very
in,
smooth
puts a
voice.
smile
It
on
was
my
very
wife's
cool.
face.
No, it's
you
very
know,
cool.
we're
It's a
happy.
great album.
Absolutely.
It's just a really cohesive album.
Learning a lot about you today.
I'm a weird guy. I'm complex.
You are complex. Phil Spector.
I'm like an onion.
Artist,
Peel me away.
producer, murderer. Did we?
Yeah.
Is that official?
Yeah.
He has murdered.
I know
He's
him
killed
more
before and not just on the record
Yeah.
charts. Heyo.
producing more.
Producing The
Just
Wall
me,
of Sound.
Um,
Beatles Let It Be album.
Lost That
Ronettes.
Loving Feeling was
Ramones,
on
and they
here.
Ramones.
kicked him off of it or something in the
Yeah.
end, didn't they?
You had
or
some
something.
Bill Medley extended solos with some stuff on this, anyways.
Sticky Fingers.
Pretty much one of the best Stones
That's,
albums.
Yes.
I think every consensus from anything that I've read or seen, that is one of their best albums.
Yeah, oh,
that
absolutely.
they've had
This,
hands
Exile.
down.
Exile's another one of my
Exile on
favorites.
Main Street.
What's
Yeah.
great about Exile is it's really no hits really on it. It's
Yeah.
just a
And
great
they've always
album.
stuck with that blue, like older stuff I like of theirs, newer stuff I could do without.
Let It Bleed was their first amazing
Anything after
album.
the 80s,
For,
I
for
was
what's
kinda
for
done
me,
with.
the Pinnacle Stones is
Right.
like 70 to 75.
Sure.
That era, and you get Bitch
Sure.
and
Octune
Happy
Baby, is that
and-
what we got?
I believe
That's
that is
Octune
Octune
Baby.
Baby. You too.
I am a U2
91.
fan. I get a lot of hate for it. I've seen them a couple
Yeah.
times. I like U2.
Nice.
I was never a big fan of this album until I saw there's a documentary about the making of this
Get
album.
off my show.
But I do understand people that don't like them. I get
Sure.
it. They're pretentious and all that. But it's like, you
Well,
know, they're
yeah, Bono's a little pretentious.
they're
Don't
good
call
at what they
yourself
do.
the
They
edge.
are
He's
their
earned
own. You hear U2, you know it's U2.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, it
you know,
stands
but like
out.
I said,
And no, and
even
they
if you
like
hate it, you
And when they
recognize it's
showed
U2.
up, they made an imprint because it was something different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they have kept themselves.
And this album was a
differentiated
drastic
from a lot
turn
of
in their
music.
sound.
I like this
Yeah,
album.
and this is
I
when
mean,
they
I
started-
definitely like.
And they
like
shifted
a-
gears a
War is
couple
still my
times.
favorite.
Yeah, but
album,
like I
the
said, I've always
Joshua
been
Tree.
lukewarm on it until I watched the documentary about the making of this album.
Oh,
It's not one of my favorite albums.
fair enough.
I love
Oh.
this fucking album.
This
Great
was
album.
I bought
87?
this CD, or my mom
87.
bought me this CD.
I
And I'd
played
sit
it
in the basement,
nonstop.
I
play
actually
Nintendo.
saw them on this tour.
Appetite for
Their first
Destruction
tour
cranked out.
played DeVos Hall.
So did I. went to it. We came
Yeah.
up here with Udo or Sop.
Udo and Zodiac
the
Mind Warp and the Lock.
the connection.
Look at
I
this.
was there. Yep.
Zodiac Mind Warp.
I
and
live in
Lock.
Jackson. We came up to a lot of shows up here.
But yeah,
this
was
This album is
it
another
changed a
of those perfect
lot of
albums.
stuff. It's
it did.
perfect.
It was a mix
Um,
of that rock and the dying breed of the hair metal.
It's
or
got a
whatever
little
it
punk
was.
edge
But
to
it's got,
parts
it's got
of
a
it.
little garage
That
sound
album
to
did
it.
have some garage. Yeah, that did have a lot.
I
of
remember
that.
the
I
year
think
it
that's
came
what drew me
out.
to it was that.
Playing this
Dirtiness of
nonstop
it.
and going to spring break in Daytona because my grandparents lived in Ormond next to Daytona, so I went to spring break pretty
Yeah.
much every year. I was
Oh,
that
yeah.
guy that had a place to stay with my
Yeah,
buddies.
right.
Everybody, you play this thing anywhere, and I mean, everywhere you went, like everybody went fucking nuts. Chicks
Yeah.
are ripping off their fucking clothes, like in the middle of the street, like.
I
It's
need
just
to-
Guns N'
I need to-
N' Roses!
I need to play that album more often.
Nuts.
Yeah, right? Are they
It was
here
like
right now?
mania.
Roger puts a speaker outside his window at home.
It was
now, and he's like,
weird, man. I'm not gonna kid you, man. You couldn't go to a party like you said AC/DC. You
Yeah.
couldn't go to a party without hearing this
Yeah.
album three
Oh, yeah.
times
Oh, yeah.
in a fucking
Absolutely.
night.
That's
yeah.
true.
I had a bunch of friends that had jean jackets, that shit all plastered on the
Yeah,
back
mine
of it.
said like creative.
90s were different. Yeah, you play it. Chicks
Sodom.
would be like, oh my god.
But I listened to all those.
Play November Rain.
Hey,
Play November. I love that song. November Rain.
You don't
This
like Grip the Man
is
either?
Sly and the Family Stone.
Sly and the Family Stone again.
It's the greatest hit, so we're not counting that one.
Yeah, it's
I don't know what
ridiculous.
happened there.
Oh,
This is
Trout.
Captain Beefheart and his
Beefheart.
magic
Oh.
band, Trout Mask Replica.
The dust blows forward and the wind blows back. Isn't that what it is? Or the wind blows forward
My
and the dust
human
blows
gets
back.
me blues.
Yes.
It's on there.
It's just odd. The
It's
cover
good.
is just amazing.
Frank Zappa was the one that put it up on Straight Records, just like early
Nice.
Alice Cooper.
Oh, he loves that.
First two albums on Straight.
Oh.
That's right in his wheelhouse.
He
You can tell by the cover
helped
alone.
produce them.
Credence.
Okay, again, the
It's
greatest
a collection, but you got to go with it.
It is a
'cause
collection.
It's a flawless
It is
collection.
perfect. I mean,
Honestly.
I have it on 8-track, cassette, and vinyl. So
Remember
I think
when
I like
was
it.
it John Fogerty? Like he had to sue himself over the rights to his own song or something like
Something.
that.
Yeah.
Some weird nonsense.
well, no,
happened
he
with
was
him.
getting sued for sounding too much like John
Like-
Fogerty.
like John Fogerty.
Yeah.
On a
Yeah, you
Creedence
sound-
song, yeah, or something
Make
like that.
center field sound different.
Okay, I'm John Fogerty. This is how
I
it
know
sounds.
this is
That's
you,
my
you're not
voice.
getting anything else out of it. Yeah, this is it.
Beggars
This is
Banquet.
a good
Beggars
album
Banquet.
too.
Again, part of that in that era.
Era Stones.
A
Yeah.
little later
64,
60s, but-
66.
Dirty
era.
Toilet. You gotta love it.
Yeah, because that's what they really latched on to that whole bluesy, dirty rock bar, southern rock
Yeah.
bar
I
thing,
love
but
the
they were just from
Stones.
Britain.
And
you know
actually,
what I mean?
and if you think about it, this album was the beginning of the end of the '60s because it was this tour.
Mm-hmm.
They were touring for this, and the last show of the tour was Altamont.
Yeah, when the
Okay.
shootings
Oh, yeah.
happened.
So like all their hits from the Vietnam era.
Yeah, so this kind
Right.
of really
That's used
signaled
on any movie that
began
has
the end
Vietnam.
of the '60s.
Any movie that has Vietnam stuff. Now, do we got a
It's
Rolling
got-
Stones album anywhere?
Can you play "Run Through the Jungle" one more time?
Right. Stevie
Every
Wonder.
war film needs it.
Yeah.
Songs in the Key of Life.
This is my favorite Stevie
This is
album.
another
Isn't she
huge
lovely?
Stevie, yeah.
Sir Duke.
Sir Duke is my jam. Love that song.
Yep. And that's it. Just hits and that keeps on giving. Elvis Presley, 1956.
Some claim he's the birth of rock and roll.
Some claim that. I like Elvis Presley.
Oh, I do too.
I was
Yeah.
raised on him. I love
I
a
own
lot
a
of his stuff
lot
from
of
Hawaii.
Elvis.
Um,
'56 was definitely the year of
Aloha,
Elvis.
you know, and you know his movies were a little hokey, of course. He'd always had to sing to some woman or
I was
something.
just talking this. I just said this Electric Lady.
Electric
Ladyland.
Ladyland.
Yep, we covered that for
Probably
you kids
my
who are keeping up at home.
Favorite.
Or
Hundreds
if the
album.
Rolling Stones people are listening, because we're doing this off your list, this one's okay. This is acceptable.
Although the fact
beautiful.
that although Experience isn't on this list, I haven't seen.
I
yet.
haven't
And
seen it
No,
either. But the
I
fact
mean,
that you
must
got
be
collections,
higher.
by
Oh,
the
I
way,
hope so.
you can't do collections. You can't do that's not how you make a list. That's like compiling everything. Like just why are
Yeah.
you putting multiple titles on
All-
if you're just doing collection?
Yeah, all their best
lazy.
hits were on this
Yeah.
album. Well, this is greatest hits.
Yeah, this is the complete.
This is their best album. Well, it's
This is the
greatest
complete
hits. Yeah.
Atlantic recordings, which my mom has this exact CD collection of Ray Charles. Phenomenal stuff off of it. I mean, again, like Stevie Wonder, just the ability to have such a remarkable career, whether you're an alcoholic or not. Amazing music came out of him.
Yeah.
Just phenomenal, energetic
So
stuff,
far
and a lot of the
ahead of
gospel
his
stuff that they
time.
did, and yeah, like him and Aretha and all that.
And in a period in American history where there's segregation,
Yeah.
he was just accepted and loved by everybody.
Yeah, yeah, and that's tough to go
He
through.
had a country
But-
album.
Yeah,
God's
country album. The Beatles. Meet the Beatles. Here they are. That's them.
Yes, and
That
this
is-
is
That's that
Oh,
little
met them.
little ragtag group of mop top kids.
this is the one they re-released over here and blew them up over
Yep,
here.
this is
basically.
1964. I mean,
Those
this is kind
first
of
handful of albums were just reshuffling of the same
Yeah.
songs
Well,
in different markets.
Uh,
Yeah.
This is the
Disclaimer.
one blew up here, like I said.
disclaimer to the ladies on the next one. It's Al Green. Keep your panties
Oh
on.
yeah.
Keep your panties on right now.
Now, great.
can bet.
Again,
I'm here to
greatest
make you wet.
hits.
Greatest hits again. Exactly. And they have so many good albums. So you're taking songs from each of these albums, putting it on a greatest hits, but you're going to show me one of their albums later. Don't do that, Rolling Stone. Okay, so I'm glad we're throwing you under the bus here because maybe this will teach you a lesson about
And
lists.
and I just
That's
gonna
not
throw
how
this
lists
out.
work.
Al Green,
Yeah,
native Grand Rapids.
true.
Born in Grand
yeah,
Rapids.
went to Ottawa. Yeah.
Yep.
Fun fact out there, folks. Bridge over troubled
Bridge.
water. Simon and the Garfunkels.
And the Garfunkels.
All
They're
of-
plural.
all the
There's like 5
Garfunkels.
of them now.
I'd
They're
like to
like
get some
Oscars.
I think
like
his
a
hair
Picasso
counts.
or a Garfunkel.
His hair counts as another entity in itself up there.
Well, you know, the thing is, if you cover Paul's face, somebody do that, it turns into a huge
giant
mustache. Oh,
mustache,
it does.
yeah.
It's hilarious.
Seen that, yeah.
Oh my
You ever
God,
seen
yes.
that? Oh, it's
Yes.
hilarious, man. You should do it.
Yeah, everybody right now
It'll
just-
make your day.
Yeah,
Go do
put
it
your
right
finger,
now.
Put your finger over the screen.
What do you
right now.
guys think of them? I mean, I know they're
I
like them.
influential.
I love Simon and Garfunkel.
I
My
don't-
wife's a
I
huge
don't have a
fan
problem
of them. I
with
own
them.
a bunch, but
Yeah.
I do, and like I said, I love Paul Simon's solo career, his early stuff.
Are we?
Well-
We're going into the. We actually got through 50, so here we are. We're moving on. We're at the halfway point, so we're moving through these.
here's
pretty
Little
good.
Richard.
Here he is. Here's this guy, Little Richard.
Or as I like to call him, the original Prince.
Yeah,
Right,
original
the original
Prince.
Ric Flair, I guess.
Flair.
Just
Little Richard's amazing.
wooing his way
I
around a
agree.
piano.
Yeah,
There's
there's no denying
just
that.
living that life. He had lip gloss on all the time. Lip gloss.
Yeah.
All very effeminate, very
Yeah.
boisterous.
Oh my God, this album is beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The Allman
Allman
Brothers
Brothers.
Band at Fillmore East.
Definitely.
Great live album.
It is a
Whipping
great live
Post
album.
on live is
Yes.
so beautiful.
Whipping
it's like
Post?
21 minutes
Yes.
long. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of those classic rocks that stand the test of time. You know what I mean?
This album's on every
Fog Hat
top
and
list,
stuff.
and if it's not, they should reevaluate their fucking
Yeah,
list.
go look in the mirror. Yeah,
Okay.
Go look in the mirror right
Yeah,
now.
Jesus, how
Take
do
a
you
good
feel
hard
about
look.
I
Could you
think
quit
that you
holding
guys
back?
need
God.
to get a clue.
Just a little one.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes a nation
Thank you, Rick
Of
Rubin, for
millions.
bringing them to me.
to hold us back. The Public Enemy,
Carrie King of Slayer plays many licks on this album. I
which
love
is
this
which is
album.
awesome.
She watched
That-
Planet Zero. Why don't you read a book or something? This album fucking rules, people. It's just, it brought hip hop. This is how I knew the earlier hip hop, but
Sure.
this is a hip hop that I really started getting too heavy.
Yeah.
Late 80s was the stuff that was edgier. This,
Yep.
NWA. I mean, this was
Body
more
count.
body count. You know, like
Body Count come back doing stuff again,
Ice-T,
yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, that's it.
Ice-T.
The early stuff. This is the stuff that got me into what I love today, like the Wu-Tang, the more edgy
Yeah.
political stuff.
Yeah.
I don't really
Yeah,
like a
it
lot of the
introduces you to a lot of
radio
stuff.
stuff.
Switching gears, John Coltrane.
I love Coltrane,
Oh, Coltrane's a
It's,
genius.
you know, a lot of people sound pretentious. You know, they're like, oh man, you got to play some Coltrane. Yo, you ever listen to Coltrane? You know, it does sound like hipster
It sounds pretentious, but it's true. You need to
But
listen
it
to
is
Coltrane.
true.
Yeah.
It's good music's good music, and you gotta know. Coltrane's good music,
Coltrane's
so
good.
make sure and get yourself on some of that. Marley,
It's a collection
Greatest
again.
hits.
Activist, yeah, it is.
It
a
is an
collection
excellent
again.
collection, though.
It is.
It is a good collection. It
Short,
encompasses
short and to the point. It's
Yep,
like
of
what
things
30
that
some
really
minutes long?
Yeah.
explain Bob Marley and his music and his message, and like I said, a lot of activism
One
and stuff like
love.
that.
And
Just one
granted,
love.
a career cut short,
The
so there's
band.
not a lot there. So
Here's a band, the band,
band.
Yeah.
that I
Who are-
respect.
Who are
Not
these
a
guys?
huge
It's the
fan.
band.
I'm not a huge fan myself.
I can
Robbie
support
Robertson was actually with him. He band after this. Little Feet's another band he was in.
Rick
It's really
Danko's High
popular.
Tenor.
Yeah.
Little Feet.
Yeah.
There's some
Little
Little Feet I
Feet.
enjoy.
Little Feet I like better
There's
than
a
the
couple
band.
jams of theirs I dig. Not
Everybody
full
knows
albums,
what
though.
is it? Cripple Creek is the big
Cripple Creek.
band
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
Up on Cripple Creek.
I absolutely love Patti
Patty
Smith.
Smith.
Patty
That's
Smith
my
is
Patty
Um,
Smith.
great.
She influenced a lot of other people. She was a chick that was kind
She
of like,
was-
"Fuck you, I do what I want. If you don't like it, don't look at me."
Gloria.
Well, yeah, and she started out as doing just spoken word over a band
Yep.
Yep.
because it
Yeah.
sounded very lyrical, and
Mhm.
it just grew into this.
Yeah.
She's influenced so many
Movement.
other people. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
like
She
I
was
said.
just skinny little
She's
thing.
an icon.
Yeah. She absolutely is an icon. Good way to say it.
For sure.
We spoke about it. You brought it in.
Yeah.
This
Dark Side
album
of the Moon.
influenced me in so many ways.
Caused me
That's
to
why
watch
I'm the
Wizard
weird
of Oz
fucker
so
I
many
am right
times.
now.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody, let's sink it to the Wizard of
Dude.
Oz and try eat mushrooms.
Dude.
Yeah, and I always thought it was
Bro.
weird because like the album's like a
Bro.
half minute or 30 minutes long.
Right.
Wizard of Oz is an hour and a half.
Yeah,
How-
it's-
How is that going to work?
Oh,
It
it
works,
does.
man.
Does
It works,
man.
man.
They did that
You
at
gotta
They
believe.
did that at Wealthy Theater like a couple years
There's so
ago.
many
It's my
things
friends
that
like, you
say,
want to go,
well,
and
you
I'm
can
like,
sync up this to
I'm
this,
like,
or have
no.
you tried this and this? It's like, oh, get away from me
I'll just
right
listen
now.
to the album.
The Doors.
This is a
Oh,
great album.
great
too.
album.
Introduction into Doors. They
Oh.
had good
Okay.
use of that organ in every. You know what I mean?
And
Skip
basically,
the bass, skip the
yeah,
bass player,
skip
go
the
for
bass.
an organ.
Exactly. I mean, that was a brilliant move. And a lot of
Basically-
people
It's
like-
lyrical.
Yeah.
He's a poet. That's what I was
Poet,
just going
True.
to say.
And
He
then they just came on
basically
that LA scene.
was a poet that turned into a singer.
And then you got Robbie
Singer.
Krieger,
Yeah.
who started out as a flamenco
Yep.
Latin guitar
Guitar
player, who brought a
flamenco.
whole different sound.
A
to
flamingo.
Flamenco.
But yeah, you said
He
it.
was a
They
pink
leave the
bird.
bass behind and just experiment.
Yeah.
I adore the Doors.
And
It's
I'm sure
another-
nobody thought
somebody
that was
else
going to
we
be
lost way
successful.
too young.
Way-
But they just
Again,
showed up in those
27.
LA
Well, the
clubs
27,
and just-
27
Joplin, the
Oh,
27.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Never.
you're not a huge. Me and Punky love this album.
Okay,
Never mind it.
I-
It's
I-
just-
Never mind it.
It's
it's a great
Pistols.
album, but I
They done did
not-
what they
they're not
said.
But like
out
I
to
said
do.
to Roger,
It
they
was-
made one album. They were
Yeah.
a train.
No,
wreck
they
that was
did,
over.
but
They were a
that
train
was the
wreck waiting to
glory
happen.
of them.
And then they
that
put
one
out like
album,
700 collections.
That's a
after
solid
that.
album, though.
it is
Yeah.
a solid.
Oh, it's a
song.
great album.
I can
dude.
go through that
Right.
thing.
It is a
and
solid
just-
You know, I listen to this album. I listen to it quite
It's on my work
regularly.
playlist all the time. It's
Oh,
mixed
yeah.
into or it's sprinkled into our daily lives somehow.
It's a great
And
album.
I tried to explain. The Great Rock and Roll Swindle is one of my favorite soundtracks.
Oh
to
yeah, it's a great
pseudo
soundtrack.
documentary. I mean, honestly, it tells the tale of how they just failed. They succeeded
They
big time.
They train wrecked
and
better
then
than
just
anybody.
train wrecked. And I mean, there's offending the Queen and going to just they were just a spectacle to behold that
Yeah.
put this
Well,
this genre of kids and activism in a spotlight.
Well, the funny thing is too is they were so built up, and then they come to
Yeah.
America, and their tour was a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean,
They
it was
played
terrible.
Holiday Inns. They played the South.
They kept
and-
just feeding Sid drugs and just
Oh yeah,
letting
and
this fucking
you
implode
either got
themselves.
them being able to
Johnny
play or
gave
just
up
falling
and-
over on stage.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
of course now he's still opinion. He almost got in a fight recently. You see that? Where he got in a
He's
fight
back
with
doing something in the
Johnny
United
Ramone
States
or
again.
something.
Yeah.
Or yeah, whatever it was, where he's like, I'm gonna punch you in the face right now. It was just ridiculous. Sorry, we got sidetracked. Love Sex Pistols. This is who is this? Love.
Love.
Forever Changes.
Great
1967.
Southern California 60s band.
Alone
Overlooked?
Again or
A lot
was one
of those
songs.
bands are overlooked in that area.
Which was Alone Again or was one of those titles that always stuck with me the way it was worded. Alone Again or ... It's like you need some ellipsis after that.
Yeah.
I do love a good ellipsis. Love it. The Beatles, Please Me.
This is the UK
Love,
original.
Love Me Do,
Yeah.
and other things that repeat themselves.
And again, it's hard to track the early Beatles albums because
Yeah.
they would just reshuffle songs.
Yeah,
that
and
have
they
already
would just
been
pop up
released.
in all kinds of... absolutely.
You know,
Great
th-
album,
Three
though.
albums,
Dynamic
all the same
stuff,
songs.
man. I
yeah.
mean, that really did change a lot of... I mean, that was that British sound. I mean, it was so...
They're so British.
From that 50s stuff that
It's
you
like
were
they could be
getting
none
handed,
more
that
British.
was all that cookie cutter stuff. I mean, they weren't afraid to experiment in that time.
Oh yeah.
You know what I
agree.
mean? When it was like mainly frowned upon and everything was very conservative, and you know these clean cut boys who were.
And as much as
you
I
know,
love early Beatles, it's from Rubber Soul on that
Yeah.
Oh, I
in love.
agree.
Yeah.
Revolver.
Revolver
Yeah,
is my
like one of
favorite.
I do like
favorite
Revolver,
albums.
but like those
Revolver's
two
my
that I
favorite.
brought are two of my favorites. That's why I have them. Unfortunately, another anthology, Muddy Waters.
Muddy Waters was a fucking genius.
Led us to Kurt Cobain in the 90s. I mean, he was a huge fan of his music, and I can see why.
Lead
you know what I
Belly,
mean?
too.
And that's what, Lead Belly.
The blending of the Delta
Yep.
blues and the Chicago blues.
Yes.
Got Muddy Waters. Oh.
Such good music.
Hotel California.
Hotel California.
Hotel California.
It is a good album.
It is a good album. It's the first
Joe
album with
Walsh,
Joe Walsh.
plays guitar forever.
Joe
on
Walsh. We were listening to some Joe Walsh the other night too, and
I
him
like-
alone.
like Joe Walsh.
Life is good.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, that album's
Joe-
great,
I
dude.
mean,
In the city,
Yeah.
Come
And
on.
like you said,
yeah.
we can-
Warriors.
Yeah, we listened to
Give me some bottles.
Ted
Come on,
Nugent's
play.
Stranglehold. That's one of my favorite Ted Nugent songs. I'm not a huge fan of Ted Nugent.
I
can do
love
without
Ted Nugent.
Really? Yeah,
Like early Ted Nugent, I
Yeah.
love it.
But yeah,
he-
Stranglehold,
Those albums
hands
are
down, one of
so
my favorite
good.
songs.
He's still great
That
live.
guitar
Yeah.
riff in there is just so. It sounds so dangerous.
And again,
you know what
another
I mean?
player. Ted Nugent's singing, playing guitar, and playing bass on all those
Yeah,
early albums.
Uh,
Carole King's
Tapestry.
Tapestry.
I can hardly see. Yeah, that's
my
what it
mom was
is.
a huge fan of Carole King. Introduced me to a lot of that stuff.
It's
Locomotion.
great. Some great
Discovered
songs.
Little Eva's Locomotion. Showing her various style and range, and her cat apparently nice cat. Ziggy Stardust.
Boing.
Yep. The rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars.
And when Hunky
Storytelling.
Dory comes out, and you think Hunky Dory is great, and then this.
Storytelling again,
oh my God.
at its finest.
I
And
think this album's amazing. Honestly, it flows
beautiful
from
cover
start
art.
to finish.
Really cool.
Yeah, that's actually a photo they retouched or
Yeah.
something.
Hand painted.
Hand painted the photo. Yeah, it's.
David Bowie, I'm sure he touched it.
Oh, yeah, he touched it. But
And,
yeah,
and, you
this
know, and
this
this is
album's
one of those
great.
first albums where this was really the Personas album,
Yeah.
not David Bowie.
It's rock and roll
okay.
suicide.
Aladdin Sane
Oh
is
yeah,
Aladdin
Aladdin
Sane.
Sane. Yeah.
You know, this
Ziggy
is
Stardust
Ziggy, and this
yeah.
is that persona, and it's
I
brilliant.
love all aspects of Bowie. I'm a huge Bowie fan, but this is
Creative.
definitely
Yeah.
my favorite.
We were watching the behind the scenes stuff on Labyrinth. His wife has to watch him from time to time. David Bowie's great. He's
Although
and they do
Life on
soundtrack.
Mars is my favorite.
Yeah, that soundtrack is.
Is it
amazing.
really?
Life on Mars is my favorite.
Oh, I like that
The
song.
band again.
The band
Music from the
again.
Big Pink.
It's the band.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah. The
Sorry.
Ramones. We watched a documentary recently on that on Amazon, and
New York's finest.
New York's
In
finest.
college, I
Honestly.
hired the Ramones and spent the entire day with them.
Such a specific sound.
good.
I mean, he just rocked them chords. He played from the top down, and I mean, just
Let's not discount Dee Dee's drumming because there's
Dee Dee drumming.
How
the vocals
do you
on
keep
that
up with
were
that
just
drumming?
so. It's intense.
Yep.
It fuels you. You got sunshine on your day. Put down the windows. Throw on some damn Ramones. It's good time.
This is one of those perfect
You will
albums.
smile.
You
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
We
This
play
is
it
a public
often
service
in a lot.
announcement.
It
Listen
is.
to the Ramones. You smile. I
Let It
just
Bleed.
said,
Let It Bleed.
Let It
Yep.
Bleed.
First,
Good album.
honestly, amazing Rolling Stones album to me.
Nice vinyl album with a picture of a vinyl album.
Yeah, I have.
supporting a
This is
cake.
another one. I have the nice original crisp little copy with everything in it.
Bob Dylan. Bringing it all back home. He made it on the list again.
He's nasally.
Writing songs for other people to do.
Maggie's Farm, Terranian Homesick Blues, stuff like that.
This is
Great
kind of,
writing.
This is kind of the pinnacle album for
Yeah?
him. Yeah.
Good enough for the list? All right, Rolling Stone, you guys get a pass on this one. Joni Mitchell.
Joni Mitchell.
Blue. 1971. Excellent album. Zeppelin, Led Zeppelin.
Zeppelin.
It's
God.
not a blimp. It's a Zeppelin.
Oh,
Yes, Monty Python references. Forgive me.
but
Yep.
what a great album!
Yeah,
like I
it's
said,
alright, yeah.
the first 3 albums to me are just
Page's lyrical
greatest.
guitar.
I mean, yeah,
all
you're
with
coming
Plant,
from the
I mean,
Yardbirds into this. They're
Yeah.
taking Plant.
Yeah,
Big new
it
singer
blended
on the
it
sing.
so
the
well.
It,
Yeah.
It's
John
a
Paul
great album.
Jones,
Yeah, it's a
brilliant.
great
John
album.
Paul
Bluesy,
Jones.
mystical, and
Pretty flawless.
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty flawless. Who's next?
Best Who
Oh,
album,
This
in
was
my
the one I was
opinion.
thinking of. Who's next?
This is the Who's Next is
This
the
is
best.
absolute best Who album
I
ever
like
recorded.
this is one of my favorites that I would go to
I
and listen to.
listen
a
to
few
this
times.
regularly.
This is one of
Yep.
those albums where you could have this. It's its album,
Yeah.
but it's also greatest hits because every great song is on this album.
Honestly, man,
Yeah.
it's just from start to finish. It's
Yep.
great songs.
If you're going to be introduced into the Who, start with
I
that
agree.
album.
Start with Who's
Yeah,
Next.
absolutely.
That'll be the one for you.
Joshua
Joshua
Tree.
Tree.
The
Again.
big breakthrough album,
A
And
big
this is-
breakthrough album.
yeah,
Yep,
this
that
is-
introduced the world to you too.
and it's a great album.
I
Yeah.
agree.
It really
I mean,
is a
come
great
on,
album,
they
start
got
to
songs
finish.
about
This was-
exit, about serial killers and
Yeah.
stuff. You gotta love
Yeah.
this album.
It's
It
got
is.
a lot of things that people don't really
the
know
best
the nature of.
album this band ever released.
Yep.
Fleetwood Mac's Rumors.
I think the best thing I ever heard was that I was at a record store and someone pulls out Rumors and goes, "You know why you find this so often? Because everybody had this fucking album."
True. Yeah, there's
And-
memes
yeah.
about it and stuff and all that stuff. Yeah,
And then the
absolutely.
stories behind it, like basically the turmoil.
Exactly, yep.
that
They were
created
all in
it,
relations,
all
they hated each
breaking
other.
up.
Lindsey Buckingham
And Mick Fleetwood with balls
Mick
hanging.
Fleetwood.
Yeah. I love the balls.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
balls. Oh, look at them.
yeah.
They're breathtaking.
One of my favorite Fleetwood Mac songs is Tusk.
Yeah.
Absolutely one of my
That
favorite
that
Fleetwood Mac
album
songs.
though, I do
Chain.
like to. That
I'm going with
album's
the Chain.
odd.
Chain is my second, and I
Chain's
love that they
good,
use that in
yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy. That was a cool one. And now because of that, my 6-year-old, she's like, "Oh, it's the song from Guardians of the Galaxy." Fair enough. I'll take it for now. I'll educate her
Yeah,
later.
James Brown,
Oh yeah.
James Brown Show.
hottest
Again.
working man in the whole business.
Oh, again, if you're gonna have a live album on the list,
Yeah.
James Brown.
James Brown
There's a
live
lot of
yelling
Stevie
at you is
Wonder.
great.
Rolling
A lot of Stevie
Stones
Wonder,
love Stevie
Intervisions.
Wonder.
Well, I mean, but honestly, I don't know
Come
about
on.
these are in the top 100 of the Rolling Stones list.
Here's
This is out
another-
of 500.
Is
I'm
this
only
another
going for
John
100
Lennon
though.
album, if I remember right?
I think it is Lennon. Let me hold on. I'm getting there. I got details on this. We're not very.
Maybe
I'm
not.
not very organized today. No, it's a Plastic Ono band.
Yeah, that's
So it's
John,
John
Lennon.
Lennon.
Well, yeah.
That's what I said. I have
Sorry.
this album. That's how I knew.
But it had the words Ono in it, and that always messes me
Yeah,
up,
this is
'cause
like-
she's just a terrifying little individual. She really, really is.
She's angry and
She's
she hates
so
you.
angry. Why are you so mad? You're so
Revolution
usually
9 is what I always think of off the White Album.
Robert Johnson, one of the
Beautiful.
original blues
Brilliant.
guitarists.
Go down the
that
crossroads.
Sold his soul to the devil.
Sold his soul to the devil. Yup. I mean,
Yeah,
this is
the
the
man-
epitome
he
of
is
blues.
legend.
This
Blues
tears your
legend.
soul from the inside and shoves it back in tears. It's seriously. I mean,
Yeah.
that's heavy blues stuff, and I went through a phase for a while. I listened to a lot of bluesy stuff.
Oh, my wife
Um,
Melissa listens to blues nonstop.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
that's your jams.
No, we've seen a lot of the legends too.
Great 28.
I'm again a greatest hits album.
The greatest hits album, but Chuck Berry.
It's Chuck
alone
Berry.
Chuck Berry.
was, I mean,
And if you're gonna have one Chuck Berry album,
yeah.
it's the Great 28.
And thanks to Marty McFly, we wouldn't have Chuck Berry.
Yeah,
I'm just
thank
saying, if it wasn't for him and what he heard that day,
McFly.
Thank
in
God
the
they got rid of
50s.
Eric Stoltz.
yeah. Hey,
We would have had something else.
you got to hear this sound.
Yeah, that was his cousin
Okay.
Marvin.
This was my 80s. That was my 80s.
Thriller.
That was my 80s. It opens up with he's got the tiger cubs. You know how many times that has been put into Lionel Richie's done it. I think it even goes back older than this of that pose.
Oh,
where he's all
yeah, of
stretched
course.
out with like
There's
a
Ohio
lion or
Players
something.
album.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Chicks
Ohio
on
Players. Thank
naked.
you.
Oh,
Yep.
even that pose.
I really wanted to go
Burt
through
Reynolds
the list of all
and,
those.
Burt Reynolds and Cosmo.
Yeah, Deadpool.
It was the
Deadpool
same.
on the bear rug, even still.
Yeah.
But this album, Vincent Price was on it. Thriller. Thriller was
Although
the
that
dance.
was done earlier.
I knew the dance. I had to learn the dance in the 80s because, of course, I'm not going to some high school dance if I don't know how to do some sweet dance moves. That's not going to happen.
We always helped spin the records at high school dances.
Yeah.
My friends would always.
I was
go
on the
and
dance
play
floor.
the music.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we
I
did
was
it
guy
all
on the
the
dance
time.
floor. I had mad skills. But that was the epitome of my 80s, that album. No, this is Van Morrison. Sorry, Astroworks.
Yeah, this is a different one. It's earlier.
Earlier Van Morrison.
Still after them.
Still good. And Bruce.
Born to
Run.
The better of his
Roger
albums.
said his favorite.
This should
It's
have
higher
been-
on the list. You were right.
Like I said, popularity vote. Everybody's gonna go Born in the USA. Born to Run though,
That's a solid album.
It was
Good
a more
writing.
rock album out of him. It wasn't your Bruce the Boss character.
No,
that
but
it
but
seemed
this
like
this
he
is the album that
became
had
to
some
be.
epic songs, some like 6, 7, 8 minute songs.
Yeah.
This had some
Yeah.
songwriting and stories.
Yeah, he was actually playing some guitar, and the band was involved, and not just
Great album.
whatever. This changed my '90s.
Love Nirvana.
Bleach changed my '90s.
Bleach changed it
Bleach
before this.
changed things for me in some of the early or the late '89 Nirvana stuff
Oh
that they
yeah,
were doing.
Flipper. I've been getting into a lot of the early stuff.
Yeah?
with it. I
Yeah.
missed a lot of that early
Um,
'80s stuff that influenced us lately.
And yeah, grunge introduced me to a whole new world of some alternative indie stuff that I desperately needed in my life, on top of the other weird punk rock and '70s, '80s punk rock I was listening to, and the pop music of the '80s that I grew up with and everything.
I think that's what got me so into Nirvana's. I already liked punk a lot.
Yeah.
I've always
Yeah.
still heavy into metal. It was
And
kind
it had
of
a
in
lot.
between,
It had a lot of that, and
moody.
experimental, and
Moody.
it was but it had levels to it. I mean, it was heavy. It was punk. It was like a jam band. It was. I mean, they were all over the place. But then they come to reconnect back on the song. You know what I mean? And just
my
power
favorite album
through it.
for Nirvana's In Utero.
Yeah.
Yep. It's raw.
Yeah, I think that's why I
Pissed.
like the Bleach.
Yeah, I like
In
Bleach
Utero
too.
had a little
Yeah.
bit more depth to their songs.
It's got
list.
Pennyroyal Tea on
This
it,
one,
man.
yeah, Pennyroyal Tea.
It sounds amazing.
Serve the Servants. I do like Serve the Servants.
Serve the
Sappy
I
is
just
one of my
love that
favorite
album.
Nirvana songs. Sappy's great.
Back to
Back
Dylan.
to Dylan. That's
Blood
Blood
on
on the
the
Tracks. Blood on the Tracks.
great.
It's Dylan.
There you go.
Our experience.
Our experience. It's on
Perfect
here.
album.
I think they had this as number 15 on their list, so we're
I
actually
always
winding down.
love
here.
the story of how they come up with the intro to Our Experience. They just cut the tape up into a bunch of pieces and threw it on the floor and tape it together and play it. Chunk,
Done.
chunk, 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 chunk. That's
Here.
what it is.
Have
Brilliant
this.
though.
That, oh, it's
And
brilliant.
right,
but
exactly.
That's the intro.
Hey man, that's how you.
It's a bunch
That's how
of
you
chopped
get
up
the sound
pieces
you
of
want.
tape. They just taped together, and there's your intro.
But yeah, Jimi Hendrix. It is a good.
Jimi Hendrix, Noel Redding.
Hey, I
Hey.
know this one.
Pretty much
I
my
seen it.
favorite Beatles
It is a
album,
great
next to probably
Abbey Road.
Revolver
It is.
with
I
you.
mean, it's an
saying,
iconic. It's an
Revol-
iconic cover. It's got hit after hit. I Want You. She's
Very
so
good.
heavy. Oh,
we
that's
could
just-
go without Octopus's Garden, but we
No.
still love you,
Yeah, that's
Ringo.
true.
Yep.
Something.
That-
Something's a beautiful.
That whole
song.
second side though.
Oh yeah, the flow and the
that
last
sucks.
parts where it all runs
And
in.
now
on it, it's
this
beautiful.
originally was supposed to be the last album. This was recorded after Let It Be, but then Let
Oh,
It Be
yeah.
was released.
Phil
It's
Spector
re-released.
again.
Phil
Yeah,
Spector
I just
re-released
thought of that
it,
when
yeah.
you said that. He
Yep.
was the
More than
note
just a
player
murder.
where they
You know,
had to save it.
imagine this is the last Beatles album. That
Right.
second
Perfect.
side. Oh,
Velvet
Velvet
Underground.
Underground.
Velvet Underground.
Yeah, Andy Warhol album.
Second
Good
Andy
album.
Warhol cover. Sticky Fingers is an Andy
Almost-
Warhol too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like a very spoken word almost album. I
It-
mean, Lou
it
Reed's got
really
it.
Why do I
was.
think I want the banana sticker? Sorry. It's popped in my head. We were just talking about a little bit of that earlier.
Yeah. No, we were. Miles Davis,
Kind of blue.
kind of blue, which is
Covered
it's a
Perfect.
it is a perfect
is.
album.
It is higher. I'm happy.
It's almost like a real.
I do
sensitive
love this album.
too.
I
It is.
remember getting to it as a
Yeah.
kid, and my mom's like, "You're listening to like mellow
Yeah.
jazz."
I mean,
Yes.
I've always had that growing up. With people. I've always had that
Listen to it,
growing
yeah.
up where people are like, "You're listening to blank." Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
Because
'Cause I like it.
Yeah, it's like.
See,
it's
I
don't
get it
know.
all the time too because I love
Yeah.
ragtime and big band.
And
So,
I like to try to get
those are my
things
favorites, yeah.
sometime to, I'll check it out and be like, all right. You know what I mean? I'll try to feel it out a couple times, give it a little bit, come back to it, and just try and, see if I can't work my way into it. There's a lot of people that say, oh, yeah, I'm really into this. Don't tell me to like it. Tell me you're into it. That's cool. I'd be more willing to check it out and be like, oh, you know what I like listening to sometimes? This, and this. Oh, all right, interesting. It's in the back of my head. You know what I mean? I might go to it. The Sun Sessions, Elvis. Elvis was all over the map. Gospel,
Yeah.
country, rock, blues stuff. I mean, guy had pipes, man. He's
Yeah.
a good-looking kid. My cousin looked just like him.
Oh.
The White Album,
White Album.
which is very self-explanatory kind of an album.
Very experimental. Beatles.
This on the list. This is like again Rolling Stones list of like out of 500. This is like some of the 100. This is 10.
See,
kind of the album where they're falling apart.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, my problem
Still
with
good
this album
music
is
on
like
it. Oh,
every
it's
other
good.
song is
Yeah.
great.
Every
Yeah,
other song is
I
great.
agree.
I will stand by that. It is a good album,
Yeah.
but it's not excellent.
It's
to
no
the degree,
Sgt.
it's
Pepper.
not to the degree
It's
of
no
anything else that
Abbey.
they ever put out, or even individually.
They love Bob Dylan.
Imagine that, Bob Dylan, the
I
guy
know.
who coined the phrase Rolling Stone.
I think so.
And a Rolling
It's
Stone
amazing how he keeps popping up on this list. London Calling.
This is probably one of
That's-
the best Clash albums.
This
Yeah.
comes in at number 8 with them, which
That's-
I think that's fair
that's
enough
fine.
to put them
I'm
in a
good
top
with that.
10. I would gladly put them in a top 10. Stones again.
Exile on Main
Exile on Main Street.
Yeah.
Again,
1972.
like you said, no real hits.
There's
but
no
it's
no
a
hits
solid
on this album,
But
but
it
this
is a solid
album's
album.
amazing.
Marvin.
Marvin Gaye, what's going
What's
on?
going on?
Pipes.
Such a
What's
good
going
album.
on?
I agree.
Amazing.
Oh.
Easily in the top 10, of course. He comes in at 6 for them.
Rubber
Rubber
Soul.
Rubber
Pretty
Soul
much
is-
when they
like
started
Revolver
get-
more, but
Yeah,
Right.
this is when they
Right.
started getting more like introspective within
they stopped
themselves.
becoming
and,
Yeah.
like,
Well,
writing
hanging
like-
out with like Ravi Shankar.
Yeah,
and
they're
stuff.
they
like,
stopped.
yeah.
They stopped being a bubblegum pop band.
And this is when
Yeah.
they started
They're like, we're adults now.
experimenting
We're
with
not
drugs
teenage.
and
Yep.
such,
Yep.
and changing
We're not
the way they looked at
teenage
stuff.
idol sensations from
Yeah.
overseas.
They really
was-
like Bob
yeah,
Dylan.
Yeah, they really got him in their mouth.
Here we go, Revolver.
This is what they
Definitely.
got on number 3.
Yeah.
Tomorrow Never
Um,
Knows.
Yeah, the artwork and
Oh, tax
Turn
Man.
off your
the
mind,
insert
relax,
that's
and
inside
float
with
downstream.
the artwork. Yeah. Beach Boys Pet Sounds.
That sounds.
This, okay,
It's
yes.
not your typical. I mean, it is your typical Beach Boys, I guess.
Well, it's good vibrations, right? And all that. I mean,
Right.
to me, I'm not a huge Beach Boys fan. I remember them because, like, I talked about the 45s earlier. My
Yep.
mom had a lot of them. I
Yep.
played a lot of them.
Yep.
Once I got a little older, I kind of just, I don't have a lot of love for the Beach Boys.
You're really great with Stamos, man.
Yeah.
Stamos.
But this album would
It's a
definitely
great album.
be their best album.
If they
It's the
if they
most-
were to be ranked in your world, that would be
Yeah.
one.
This would
And
be
the,
their
and the
best
production
album.
value on that album.
Sgt. Pepper's.
Fantastic.
This is when the Beatles really started experimenting.
Yeah, as you can tell by the colorful ensembles.
It's great.
But they
And
nailed
everything
it.
that
No, it's
they have.
great.
God, they nailed this.
And they did
is-
nail
that's
it.
great
The
album.
artwork is
It is
so
a good one.
iconic. I mean, it's
Yep.
been copied by every band you can think of, doing other things in the back and sticking different characters in it.
It stands out
And the,
more than
but the
others.
songs on this album.
No, I
Man.
love Sgt. Pepper's. I think it flows
Woo!
so
Woo!
well. Day in a Life, come on.
Nailed that list.
Oh, Day
All right.
of Life, easy. Yeah.
As we typically do, so it was a decent list. There's a lot of things that would have changed. Less Bob Dylan, less Stones. Pick a few of their best. At least 2. You can be on the list twice. Fair?
I'm
You
good
can be on the
with
list
that. I agree
twice.
with that.
I think that is acceptable. Redefine your list, okay? There's a lot of artists out there. There's a lot of good albums. A lot of artists do have multiple albums, but they also got some that just aren't the best and don't deserve more recognition than others, I think. You know what I mean?
Now, personally, I like music lists that are broken down more specifically to genre because
Sure.
there's so much music.
Sure.
How can you
And
compete
subgenres.
two things
and
against each other?
absolutely.
Like that?
Absolutely.
I volunteered to make the metal list.
Please, I'll do,
I
I'll
will
do
listen-
the
I will
punk
listen to your
lists.
metal
I'll
list.
do the punk lists.
I'm just
Roger?
telling you.
What do you want to take? Industrial?
I'll take the classic rock list.
Classic.
That's-
rock.
that's
I'll work on
Interesting.
it.
You know what?
That's-
Maybe
that's
we'll
my
come
world.
back. We'll do another show about this. All right. How do we tie this into pop culture, you ask? Well, it's easy. Our albums and artwork are pop culture. It's all part of pop culture. You know, that's one of the things that first attracted me. I'd see my parents' little collection of the artwork and stuff. Like, oh, what's it? Oh, what's this? What's this? Like Bat Out of Hell with Meatloaf. I'm like, oh, looks terrifying. Then you listen to it, I'm like, this isn't scary at all.
You're like, it's Rich and Corbin art. It's beautiful.
And Jim Steinman, how is that not on the
Yeah.
list? Bat Out of Hell's a great album.
It might have been in more of the 500 to.
Yeah, it's
I just
probably
did
on
the
there.
last 100, which
I
I'm
don't know.
still. There's a lot more. I think.
I think
could
we
have
could
been-
replace the Dylan with a.
I think
Meatloaf.
maybe we'll come back with our own list and we'll do something. But you know, it's iconic stuff and it stands the test of time. You know, it's making a resurgence. We got the record player here. We're gonna check out that Jaws before we leave. You know what I mean? And it introduced us to, and generations have handed it down to generations to get them involved in music. And the movie High Fidelity was
High
a great
Fidelity.
movie
High Fidelity,
involving
great movie.
records and vinyl and collecting and you know being a
And
prude
list.
about music and
And
lists.
list.
Top 5, top 5 this, top 5 that, songs about Anne, top 5 songs
Songs
about
about
whatever, you know.
breakup songs.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and top 5 breakup songs, and it's cool, you know what I mean?
It stood
and,
the test of time, too.
and it
That is
did.
a great film.
And of course,
And
great
another
things
film
like-
around the same time that's close to it, not as good.
Right.
Empire Records.
Oh,
Empire
Empire
Records.
Records is good.
Great.
Yeah, I like
Empire
Empire
Records. Still
Records.
love that
It's not
movie.
as good as High Fidelity.
Guar shows
but it's
up
a
on it.
damn
Come on,
good
but yeah, it's
movie.
fun.
Well, I think
Exactly.
us being fans of vinyl and music and stuff, you're drawn
And
to
music
music
stores.
stores.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
90s.
Growing
kinda
up, I always
gave us,
dated girls that worked in music stores.
we
That
had
was always
singles.
my thing.
Yeah.
the movie Singles. In
I
the
love the
90s.
movie Singles.
I like the soundtrack. I like the movie too, but it had a little bit of that, you know, these guys in little bands trying to make it, and the scene.
Cameron Crowe,
You know,
you gotta
yeah,
give him
exactly.
props on
And,
the writing.
you know, and music and records and albums all put us each into a scene. I mean, we had a scene.
We're huge
You know what
in
I mean?
Belgium. That's what I always remember from singles. He's like, our single's huge in Belgium, trying to
Well, the other
Right.
thing about like
Which
records
is a big
like,
deal now. Yeah.
You know, we all grew up obviously in different places,
Yeah.
different times.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But like all pop culture, this is a common history we all have
It
together.
is.
We
It
all
is.
had that album.
And it can still
we all
be
listened to
shared.
that from our parents' collection.
Absolutely. And it's still shared with gender. My kids are big on a lot of variety of music, you know. And I like to think that's thanks to me since they were in a belly. Music here. Put these headphones on that.
You're listening
Child
to
needs to hear this. Before it comes out, it needs to know what it's getting itself
Needs to
know. Right.
You need Slayer now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we got 6 kids between us. Okay, and they're each individual in their own rights, but they all have a lot of the same styles and tastes as her and I do, and we can all kind of listen to stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I think
You
we're
know,
all
like 21
that.
Pilots. We can all agree. We all like 21 Pilots in our family group. We can listen to their music, be like, yeah, sing along, have a good time. There are some songs. Queen. We can do that with Queen. We can do that with, you know, a lot of variety of things. And it's great that generations still take advantage of records and vinyl, and it's still a viable format that, you know, can be used and appreciated, which is important to be passionate about. What else do I have to do? Avoidance corner. Let's do the avoidance corner. Let's talk about movies to avoid real quick before we wrap things up here. I think we're running a little bit long today.
And
turn it to a
we're
2-hour
doing-
show.
We're doing the perfect weekend for this.
It is the avoidance corner. It ties in well, as did Addison's, of course, Peter Rottentail of the Easter holiday weekend. We're going to tackle a little something called Night of the Lepus. Lepus, of course, also means bunny.
Latin
Rabbit.
for rabbit.
It's Latin for rabbit. Lepus. They leap about. In a style.
They frolic and
They frolic. This one, there are scientists. There's a Cameron Mitchell. There is a Tippi Hedren. Tippi Hedren's in it, yeah. And Bones.
Yeah.
Dr. McCoy.
Dr. McCoy, and I can't remember his name right now.
I can't either. DeForest Kelly.
DeForest Kelly.
Thank you.
Good call.
This movie stars some actors that have tackled a lot of sci-fi and horror things throughout the 60s and 70s era. This one is 70. Who was it? Stuart Whitman. Who did I say? Not Cameron Mitchell. I did do that twice now. Not Cameron Mitchell. Stuart Whitman, who was in Treasure of the Amazon and a few other things. Weird sci-fi and old horror movies. But Night of the Lepus there's some science. A guy who works with bats.
Some
There
science
are
behind
bunnies,
science fiction.
which I think it begins with the daughter of the scientist swaps a bunny out with one of the tested ones with one of the normal ones she could take. So she took it, and it got loose. Cut to giant rabbits eating everyone and everything.
Enormous
Horses,
rabbits.
people.
Knocking over
Doesn't
cars.
matter. Knocking over buildings, and they're not quite kaiju proportionate. As big as a house. And they actually shot bunnies and rabbits with pellet guns to film this movie. There's no disclaimer like, oh, no, bunnies were harmed. No, they harmed the fuck out of these bunnies. Night of the Lepus, it's one of the weird ones. They have to find a way to stop all these giant rabbits by enclosing them in a cave and then blowing it up or something.
But it's that typical 70s giant.
It is that
giant animal. Nature goes amok.
Nature goes amok. Not quite Day of the Animals, which we'll tackle in
Day of
another
the Animals,
show. I'm sure.
Grizzly, frogs.
Grizzly, which I love. Frogs, yeah, another terrible one. Yeah, anything animal, yeah. Hawk. I'm sure there was one called Hawk.
If there wasn't, there should be.
Is Sci-Fi Channel listening? We're gonna let's make this happen. All right, I'm gonna thank you, sir, Kelly.
Thank you,
Mr. Melberg. It was good seeing you.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad
It's
you took
always
the
good to
time
see
on
you.
a Saturday to spend time with us. I'm grateful that we actually got an opportunity to be friends again and hang out. Not that we weren't, but we don't connect often.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Okay.
now we're reconnected again. We can do things. We'll have you back on. We'll talk more music and such, and we'll definitely unveil our list. Retro Rags, they're awesome. Go see them. Buy T-shirts. Roger's got stuff over there. At Tardy's Collector's Corner, go buy all their comics and stuff. I mean, leave me a few. But they got pins, toys, everything you possibly want, and all those new Super 7 characters.
Yeah,
I got a bunch of Super.
I know. I saw you post something about it. I was so mad. So go see Tardy's. Check out Addison's stuff on YouTube and his Trauma things, and prepare for his movie, which is gonna be dynamite. It might be a bad movie, but it's gonna be a dynamite bad movie, and I'm super excited about it. And all of our guests throughout the history, thanks to everybody. We appreciate it production-wise. Thanks, guys. We'll do it again next week when we are talking about the 501st. The 501st. We're talking some Star Wars. That's right, because we're gearing up for May 4th, our Star Wars show with the 501st. Exciting times. We have lots of things. Things and such. All right, we're going. Bye. Hit the music.